Right? Meow.
Yep. And we go.
Bleep bloop.
Bleep bloop.
YouTube has to yell about the audio again, but it's fine. How you doing?
Hey, everybody. Welcome.
I see there were quite a few of you waiting.
Thank you.
I'm not going to say hope we didn't keep you, because we are 5 minutes early, technically. Thunderbolts and lightning, very, very frightening me.
Oh, yeah.
Hello, Art. Before we go anywhere with this, and I get easily distracted, I would like to remind everybody this episode is brought to you by our patrons, like Arpago Comics, me, Arctic 10, Wiggles G, Carlos Dragon, Ferris, Jeremy Vasquez, Jonathan Sandoval, Legendary Boss Hunter, Liam Kessler, Reject Raptor, Rogue Robin, Charvor, Sean Pryor, some guy named Bob, 723, and Vern the Crow. If you like what we do, want us to do more, supporting us on Patreon. Support everybody. Now I can close that tab. This is a very gooey opening cinematic.
It is, but I'm digging it.
I mean, that seems to be the vibe that Stranger in Paradise is going for.
Well, again, I've been reading, like, we'll get into this, but going into it, a lot of people, yeah, Shield Wall, check that shit out. But, they're definitely saying they're going for a much more dark and gritty kind of feel, so there's gonna be, like, blood squibs just going around everywhere.
Well, and to be fair, the original, like...
Oh, Jesus.
The story of some of the older, like, Final Fantasies, like 1 and 2 and stuff, were...
Oh, God, this Darth Vader motherfucker, look at him go!
Yeah. He's chaos, and he's going to knock them all down. God, there's a lot of this crystal, though. It's Final Fantasy, they love crystals. But, like, if you understand the text of a lot of those stories, right?
Alright.
It's... Some of them are quite freaky. Like, I think a few of them get, like, very existential and stuff. It's just, you know, when you're dealing with, like, NES graphics and whatnot, and storytelling limitations, you can't really get into the nitty-gritty, right?
Right.
Like, not only does the market not want to do this, oh my god, YouTube, shut up about the audio rate. It's fine. Shush. This is like the 4th alert they've given me. Are you so far back in time? Ooh, okay. That was a little weird. Cutscenes are beautiful, though.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, like, not only was that not to the market in the time period, but also just, like, you didn't have the graphical fidelity anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in order to get that for, like, Mortal Kombat, you had to do, like, the fucking full motion video and everything. And everything's weird and techy.
I'm guessing that's Tiamat.
So it seems like I've seen some screen caps from the demo. Like at one point, they were like, the Prime Minister said we had to defeat some infamous monsters, and so we defeated some infamous monsters. Now we can fight chaos. Like it's just like a hard cut, and I don't know if it's I don't know if it's like for the demo or if the storytelling is legitimate. They're like, fuck you, you don't have to fight those monsters. Let's kill chaos. Because both could be true, right?
Right.
Like, they could have cut down. Wow, that is a hell of a spam. You are going to get reported.
Wow.
Twice. Cool. Oh, okay. They're full blown. I put you in time. Because Lucky Bay, it's Stranger in Paradise. Alright, catch that up. I put them in timeout. I'm sure YouTube will catch up and do that later. Alright. Okay, proactive moderating.
Yeah, that was something.
This is what happens when you talk about stuff that's relevant. So yeah, this is what's up. We're going to talk about things and stuff. Lucky is playing Strangers in Paradise demo, the new demo that came out, connected to the State of Play that happened this week.
Yep.
This game also comes out, like, Friday?
Soon,
Yeah.
yes.
The 18th, I believe, is the release date, which is Friday. Gee, that finishing move looked familiar. I wonder if Jack Garland and Chaos are connected in any way. I think that's the real beauty of this, is that anybody who realizes that this is just Final Fantasy 1 is like, hold on a minute. Wait a second. because yes, in case you guys don't remember the plot of Final Fantasy 1, Garland is the first boss. He kidnaps the princess or whatever, and then you beat him up. It has the famous line, "I, Garland, will knock you all down." And then you go on to fight like the elemental guys for the orbs, and then you find out that the last boss, Chaos, is just Garland through a time loop who obtained the elemental orbs. Yes, that's all true to the original Final Fantasy. I know it's weird. So, like, Stranger of Paradise is in a really weird way. Oh no, this cutscene is blocked.
Can't stop me.
Well, they can't stop us now. We'll see if Square Enix gets mad at us later in the VOD. It's a public demo, though, so...
Oh, wait, no, fuck. Frank Sinatra.
Oh, is it actually playing My Way? Like, legitimately in the thing?
Yeah.
Well, that's gonna get us in trouble.
Well, I just muted the Elgato, so...
Okay.
I don't know if...
If it was a short sample, we should be all right. But, yeah, that's a little... Wow, that's just... Not even the trailer arrangement. That's just... He's just straight up listening to My Way? Weird. This game is weird, guys. It's not even out yet, and I already know it's weird.
Okay. I'll turn the Elgato back on. I was just thinking about it. It's like, why is this blocked? It's just a cutscene, and I hear Frank Sinatra. I was all like, shit!
Yes, that's probably why. Literally why. But Chaos is a guy already, Axe. He's a guy we have to kill.
We have to kill Chaos.
Also, yeah, I mean, yeah, never mind. I'm gonna ignore Axe in his comments about Final Fantasy. He clearly hasn't been paying close enough attention, and he's way too young to know shit about old school Final Fantasy. So this was at the State of Play. There's a couple of things. I've got the State of Play video pulled up. This is kind of, one of the smaller ones. It's only like 20 minutes, right?
Right.
Just trailers and gameplay and stuff. Nothing earth-shaking, though there were some stuff. I think they started strong. I know a lot of people shit-talking Exoprimal.
Are they?
Yeah, like industry people. Like, not huge weebs like we are in the community, but like people are just like, yo, what's this weird thing? And I guess there's a little bit of the cynicism of like, this looks like a multiplayer game, right? That's like an Anthem or probably like a Babylon's Fall. And notice how all of those kinds of like live service games have been doing dog shit lately.
I was about to say this reminds me more of Evolve rather than anything. Or Evolve 2.
Yeah, it's got some vibes of that. A lot of people also been talking about how it's basically like, because it's Capcom, it's like Lost Planet.
Oh, true.
And obviously they've got the chick who looks like the Dino Crisis lady in it. But it is not actually Dino Crisis. I mean, I'm just like, it's one of those weird, Japanese aesthetic games, right? Mm-hmm. Where, like, shit's just weird. And there's giant robots and there's dinosaurs. Why are there dinosaurs that explode out of, like, goo holes in space-time? I don't know, but let's put on robot suits and fight them. And, like, for the right audience, these kinds of games have vibes. I do agree that since it is multiplayer, it's probably going to come down a lot onto, like, player-based investment. But if you like this kind of game and you've got three other assholes...
Oh, God, I am covered in blood.
You, right?
Yeah.
You were very crystal bloody. Then that's all you need, right? Like, right. all you need is just three other dudes, I think, to play this with. And get attacked by, fucking Tyrannosaurs and Triceratops and stuff. So I'm like, I'm okay. This is definitely, like, I think it was a strong start because it immediately had everybody going, what the fuck am I watching?
I mean, that's a pretty fair feeling that I had about a lot of this, actually.
Well, Sony did say they wanted to focus on a lot of their third party. Mm-hmm. A lot of their partnerships with the big developers, mostly Square and Capcom's teams. Exoprimal, we got State of Play. They did another Ghostwire trailer. Basically, so the first thing is a premiere, which is like, look at this weird game coming out next year. And then the next couple, I think, was Ghostwire, and I think after that was Stranger in Paradise. I'm just tapping through, hold on.
Crack that neck, just...
Tapping, Ghostwire. Yeah, Stranger in Paradise with the new demo. So basically, they start strong with a world premiere, right? And then they're like, by the way, these two games for PlayStation coming out, like, right the fuck now, basically. Mm-hmm. Check out a new demo later today. Don't forget Ghostwire coming out in, like, 2 weeks, right? So, it's... just, kind of like there. Then they had a Forspoken update, because that recently got delayed. Mm-hmm. It's going to come out in October now. I can't say that I'm sad about that, honestly.
No, I need time.
The previous date was like in April, I think, or something. And I was just like, that's going to be bad. Now they've pushed it back like a couple quarters. I've also, like, a lot of people talked about the early gameplay previews kind of being kind of meh on. A lot of those people, I, like, watch their reactions on Twitter and stuff. They were a lot more excited about this trailer because it looks like the, like, combat animations and just the atmospheric stuff's even more spiced up. Like, I don't know what the plot of this game is, really, other than that it's an isekai, and, you know,
Best
our main
friends!
character... What's up?
Oh, no, here must be the thing. You must go slave several infamous monsters.
Yes.
They did it! It is now done!
Yeah, that's the hard cut I'm talking about. And, like, again, I literally don't know if that's just for the demo or not. So, by the way, if I'm not following what's going on with Stranger of Paradise, because I'm tabbed over and watching the state of playback to make sure we're covering everything. But yeah, so with Forspoken, like, a lot of people are saying, and I agree, a lot of the animations in this new trailer are, like, very zesty, and as an action RPG, like, with some of these open world vibes, I think that feels like that's enough, right? Like, it just looks cool to play. And you and me, for plot stuff, like, we can be discerning customers, but we're not, you know, too discerning. No. It's like, I can't 100% say if it's like this, but I think this analogy is correct. Again, watched a lot of How to Drink and stuff. Like, we'll take some, like, high-class, complex shit, but sometimes, you know, you just want to get smashed, and alcohol's alcohol, right?
Yeah.
Like, Forspoken seems functional.
Yeah, but once we get closer, we'll definitely probably see more about it. They'll probably do more highlights on it and whatnot.
Yeah, some more story stuff.
Some more story stuff.
The next was the trailer for Gundam Evolution? Yeah. Which is like, what if Overwatch with Gundams? It seems. Which, I don't know. Some of our mecha guys seem hype about it. I mean, it's kind of weird to me, like, watching the gameplay footage. I'm like, yeah, this is an Overwatch or a Halo or a whatever, but with giant robots, and that's a little weird. Like, everything's scaled up for giant robots, but obviously the UI scale still looks like a normal FPS. So I'm kind of like, seems okay.
Welcome to Cornelia. I like swords. Welcome to Cornelia. I must kill chaos.
It's basically the evolution of that meme.
Yes. But again, like,
well, I mean, you're literally watching a demo act, so I haven't played the demo myself yet. Because I don't know if I have time to get this game when it comes out. I know it's going to be really interesting, and I'm very interested in it, but also I'm like, God, I got so much shit. I haven't touched Triangle Strategy at all.
Still?
Yeah, I just don't have... What time would I take to play Triangle Strategy? That's I know it's a Switch game, but that's like... I either need to be going to sleep, or that's time I can play more Horizon. Because we'll probably be talking about, as it says in the title, probably be talking about Horizon later, because Lucky's done.
I'm done.
And I am not done. We still have some things to talk about. We'll get into that in a sec. Let's see. Where was I in the state of play? We can quickly recap some of that stuff. There was the... What do they call it? Turtles...
Cowabunga? Yeah, it's Cowabunga Collection. Okay, so, real talk, I enjoy Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I think they're cool. I played a lot of their games growing up. When I heard that, you know, Sony, like, be picking up a Konami IP... Turtles was literally the last one I thought it'd fucking be. God damn it.
And I'm not even sure if that's what was meant, right? Like, the rumors about the Konami thing are, like, everywhere all the time. Yes, these are technically, like, they were produced by Konami back in the day, but also the licenses, like, the property itself, Turtles, is owned by Nickelodeon. So it's like, I don't know if that's what people meant, but if it is what they meant, I completely understand why Sony would not, like, make a big stink about it, right? Like, it was just a private, because they don't want to get people's hopes up. They're just like, we're licensing Turtles, because we're talking with, like, Nickelodeon, which is owned by Viacom, etc., etc. And then there was this Gigabash, this kaiju-looking game that's like, okay. Give me Godzilla Destroy All Monsters.
These yellow eyes are very intense.
A lot of the animation is very intense.
荒々しいお顔だこと、戦場では必要なのでしょうね。でも、娘たちの前で。
This is the power of the PS5, though. Everybody's so high spec. You can tell the modeling team spent forever in costuming.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, this was another funny one. After Gigabash, they were like, let's check out a bizarre fighting game. And literally everybody was like, so we're gonna be JoJo? Yes, the answer is yes. It's All-Star Battle R, I think? Which is cool, you know, I think I talked about this the other day. I don't even know how long it's been, but I think over the past couple of years, I've kind of finally gotten around to getting into the JoJo thing.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, I'm not full bore, like, I'm not reading the manga. I'm waiting for them to release more of the anime that I'm sure they've been doing. Like, it's been like 3 months, guys. Where the fuck is the rest of Stone Ocean? Netflix.
How
Stop
dare.
blueballing me with this. You're killing me. Especially because those first 12 episodes were really good. But also at the same time, like, I don't know if I'm interested in this fighting game, like as a JoJo franchise thing, because it's up to date with the manga, and like all of our JoJo nerds in our Discord are like, oh well, this these I bet this will have more characters from this part, from part 8 and whatever. And I'm like, too far, too much. You've gone too far into the future. I don't know what's happening anymore. That's for chat. TMNT does have some good games. I still think I have my Turtles in Time cart for the Super Nintendo around here somewhere.
That's a solid one.
Yeah. Trying to remember, have I ever actually beat Turtles in Time? I think I've gotten pretty close in the end. The next was then... I think I've heard of this game, but I've never seen any footage for it. Trek to Yomi.
I think I've heard about it.
Yeah, because it was... it's published by Devolver, and they had it at their last big Devolver festival thing, but those are always in the middle of the night and such a mind trip. I don't always remember all the stuff they talk about, so I heard the name, but the gameplay footage looks cool. You know, very Kurosawa. Got a pretty strong cast, which they straight up show off, right? Like they do a fucking film ass credits.
No, but it does seem to be very much that, you know, that Kurosawa movie vibe. But I'm excited for it, but I don't know if it's gonna be something I'm necessarily gonna be super intense about when it comes out.
We'll see. They just said spring 2022, so we don't know. But we'll see what's up. And then it was this was a weird one. I've heard some outlets, some news outlets saying that actually the Returnal update is the killer app of the state of play, and I'm like,
really?
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that one. I mean, I think it's cool. They're talking about there's going to be a free update to Returnal, basically a year after it came out. That's going to include co-op, which I think is very interesting. Main campaign play co-op, and then also a new survival mode and some other features. So I'm like, that's cool. And I know a lot of people talked about Returnal, but also I feel like people kind of were mostly okay on it, especially because it had some issues with the not being able to suspend for 3 months. You just had to suck it up and get to your checkpoints and stuff. I do like the trailer because it shows off it heavily emphasizes the extra freaky shit, right?
Right.
I mean, and co-op is cool. I'm not gonna say that Lucky and I would co-op stream Returnal, but we could. Literally a thing we could do.
I'd probably be down for that. Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, it seems good. And then Square Enix plays us out with 2 new announcements. Let me see. The first one was Diofield Chronicles. Yes, which looks interesting because like it's got a 2D character graphics and stuff that are like very much in the vein of like Final Fantasy Tactics, and then even moving on to stuff like Octopath and Triangle Strategy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the gameplay looks a little more like real time with pause-y.
Mm-hmm.
And the way these characters I see drawing their like attack lines and movement lines, it reminds me a lot of like combat systems they've used for games like Final Fantasy 12, and even like I think some of the graphics I've seen, like how they describe like character targeting and AoE effects and stuff from what gameplay footage I've seen of like 14.
Yeah, no, it seems like the battle system is you probably pick your abilities and then everyone acts as once and tries to resolve them. So
yeah. And it looks very interesting because it's got like it's not like unlike like an Octopath or a Triangle Strategy. It's not like 2D HD. It is 3D models which are stylized. Yes, Diofield Chronicle. The Diofield Chronicles. It's guys, I don't Square. You're killing me with the names. Remember like 2 years ago when they said Triangle Strategy wasn't final, and then everybody who was familiar with Octopath was like, that's gonna be the name. It's gonna be the name when we're done here. And it was. I know what it's saying. Are you talking about Returnal right now?
I'm not sure what X. If you're talking about Strangers of Paradise here, yes, it is actually just like it is in all the other Team Ninja games like this. Like, people might not remember fucking Ninja Gaiden for, like, the PS3 and, you know, Xbox and stuff. But I do. Like, those were the Dark Souls before Dark Souls came out. But instead of just being one giant connected world, everything would just be kind of map and mission-based. You would, like, just pop between areas. And that's how they did it with, like, all the Ninja Gaidens. That's how they did it with Neo. And that's how they're going to do it with Strangers in Paradise here. Which I'm okay with.
Yeah, I mean, it seems fine. You've got action stuff going on. Like I said, I haven't been paying too close attention because I literally tabbed over. But we're almost at the end of State of Play, so...
Yeah.
I mean, Diofield looks interesting. Square is definitely... They did this at the Nintendo Direct as well. They were like, yo, we're Square Enix, and we're here to deliver you strategic RPGs. Do you like pause? Here, look at this. We're remaking Front Mission. Though, funnily enough, because of stuff happening, Advanced Wars has been delayed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Nintendo said that they're indefinitely delaying it because there's a last war going on.
Oh!
Yeah, no, they straight up said, like, yeah, so we didn't feel right about releasing Advanced Wars. We're going to put the release on hold for an unknown time period.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel a little weird about that people, like... Does the fact that the game is about a war really have any consequence, even if there are real wars going on? Do people actually feel that's, like, in bad taste? I don't think that's in bad taste.
I don't know. I mean, I think Nintendo was worried it might be in bad taste, right? It's... Not to get too much into the real business, right? Because we're not here to talk about that. Even Martha's like that thing in Europe. You mean the Russo-Ukrainian war? We can say it.
Yeah.
YouTube gave me an alert, like, a couple of weeks ago. Well, I'm pretty sure Advanced War is in some kind of make-believe planet, so it probably doesn't have actual Russian people in it. But there might be some symbology. I think, like, one of the commanders might have, like, a weird hat thing. But no, like, I'm pretty sure we can discuss the fact that there's a war going on because, like, a couple of weeks ago, YouTube was like, hello, we're suspending monetization on Russian-associated channels, and even did this to, like, official Russian media because of just how things are. So it's like, no, even YouTube is currently giving a fuck about this. So, like, we can bring it up, but also that is just how the corporate culture is turning on this. Like, McDonald's has suspended operations in Russia. Like, Coke and Pepsi have both said they're going to stop operate. Like, it's just... probably like the most serious that like general Western, you know, like America, European, and like sphere has been on this since the Cold War. The McDonald's thing, for instance, is very powerful, right? Like, the first McDonald's opened up in Russia after the Soviet Union fell in, like, 91, I think. And then they've been suspended. Yeah, it's rough and weird. And, I mean, I also feel bad for the Russians caught up in this, but I don't want to whataboutism this or anything, but, you know, like, I also feel worse for the Ukrainian civilians who are currently being bombed. Whoops. Like, I feel bad if you're caught up in the economic stuff in Russia, but that's probably the only way we can stop the arguably much worse thing going on in Ukraine right now without it escalating, which is not what anybody wants. Because right now we're basically... It's very interesting, you know. I just missed the Cold War. I was born in 92. So, like, I whiffed all that stuff. But now we're in Cold War 2.0. Straight up. Like, some people were like, this is World War 3. It's not World War 3 yet, but this is straight up Cold War 2.0. And it's weird and it's tense, but, you know, people sucked it up for 50?
Oh, no.
Like 50 years before, so...
Oh, I died!
Suck it up, too. You did die.
I fucked up my my brake bar thing.
I see that there's no honor amongst enemies in this. Those guys kept hucking fireballs at you even after you were down.
Yep.
But then, let's see, what's the... Oh, yeah, that's right. Valkyrie Elysium. So, looks like Square's bringing back Valkyrie profile. I was quite shocked some people didn't realize what this was at all. Like, I saw some people look at this footage and like, yo, is this Nier? And I'm like, oh my god, you guys are like, your brains have been melted like baby children. Because, like, I'm not a huge, like, Valkyrie profile guy, but, like, I rented, I think, 2 for a little bit from my local library. It's a JRPG, so, like, I didn't have enough time to finish it. But, like, I'm like, I remember this. But, yeah, no. So that looks like we're bringing back the Valkyrie vibes. I've got a slightly, like, stylized art style.
I know, but it seems, I don't know, just from what I've seen like right now, it seems a little lacking, I want to say. It's a little... It's
a very rough profile. I mean, from what or trailer, I should say, like, it's very loose. From what I remember about the RPG, like the old, like I said, I think I played the second one on PS2, rented it from my local library.
Mm-hmm.
The exposition in my memory, even though that's like, you know, 20 years ago or whatever. But yeah, something like that. It's like I'm watching hit guys with a giant sword and then do a finishing move, crush that man to blood crystals, and then explode.
All right, I need you guys to look at me so I can do this fire thing, aren't you guys?
Taunt.
No, there we go. There we go. Because if you hit them with their own fire 3 times, they self-destruct, and it's great.
As you do with bombs. But from what I remember of the game I played of Valkyrie Profile, it was kind of like what that trailer did. Like, I immediately was like, I got the vibes when people started talking. Like, I remember it being kind of like vague and lore dense, and I'm not sure what the fuck is happening, but there's a Valkyrie and like Odin's in it and he's an asshole, so we needed to stop Ragnarok or something. And that's what I remember about like the first like 10 hours of the game that I played. So like this seems to be in that vein. I don't know if we're ready for that. I'm sure there's some fucking Valkyrie profile diehards who like, since this, I'm pretty sure this game hasn't had a vibe since like the PS2 era, like I said. So like I'm sure some people are hyped for that return. I think it's cool, but I'm not gonna go out of my way, right?
Yeah.
It's neat. But yeah, that is what was up in State of Play, you know? There was some stuff and some things, some states of play. I think it was okay.
No, it was alright.
I know some people felt a little, like, disappointed
I don't think the state of play was anything necessarily, you know, groundbreaking or crazy.
No, but I mean, it reminds me of like Nintendo Direct, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just, hey, it's a new month. You know, it's our first state of play of the year. We're Sony. We want to remind you these titles are coming to PlayStation. These titles are about to come out. Here are some titles that you already know about that are going to come out. And here's some new announcements for some stuff that's going to come out at a time period, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it's fine. It's only 20 minutes. There was no faffing. There's no, like, developers yelling about, like, hello, we are European and small developer. That was probably, like, a very weird accent. But, like,
I mean, it
I don't
happens.
mean to, like, offend those guys, but, like, gamers don't give a shit. It's one of those weird things where, like, I feel like maybe we should give more of a shit, but, like, do gamers, like, most of the people I know who watch these things just roll their eyes when a developer comes on screen and he's got those developer vibes and he just talks about, like, huge opportunity, sweeping vistas, whatever, and you're just like, yeah, show me some real footage. Like, we're also jaded and cynical because of the way video games are, that you can't believe a human being speaking to you. You're like, show me the goods. If you can't show me the goods, then I don't care what you're saying because it's all just fluff, right?
Right.
And quite frankly, based on previous experience, if you are one of those people who goes like, oh, look at this developer speaking earnestly to me in his collared shirt about all these things and whatever, it's like, I totally believe that his video game will be an open world revolution. That you know, we're gonna change the face of gaming. Never before. Oh wow, just straight back after your timeout. YouTube, can I mean, I can report them.
No, I think like if you report them,
yeah.
if you,
I mean, I
you're-
reported them, but you that means a YouTube machine has to come ban them, right?
right.
Anyway, I'll put them in timeout again, so we're not constantly getting spammed. You should see that YouTube's machines will clean up the images in a little bit. There we go. It's still going to be in the video feed. And I swear to God, YouTube, if you get mad at me for the chat overlay that, like, naked HD online strips without clothing is left in, I will find my nearest YouTube office, I will crawl through the fiber optic cables, and I will punch you. Like, how the fuck is that my problem that you won't give me the tools to get rid of this asshole? But luckily, I think that's only a problem for Twitch, not for YouTube. Yes, if you would so kindly, if you see a comment that is not okay, please report. Maybe YouTube will actually give a shit sometime in the time. Where was I? I was talking about, like, right. If you take a video game developer at face value like that, you're only setting yourself up for disappointment. Like, I'm sure those guys, most of those guys mean well when they have those, like, earnest conversations in a field, right? In a park. But reality is reality, so things change. Also, I believe you, without saying anything, I believe you answered one of Axe's questions about can you switch equipment and stuff. You pulled up in your menu and fiddled with your inventory.
Cactor! Bitch!
So we've got some iconic designs right out the gate.
Well, I mean, we have
bombs.
yeah, we have bomb, we have Cactar. Just fucking tossed it.
You just pick him up with a leg, turn him in, and just fucking chuck him. All right, this seems fun. Like, this has some fun vibes.
Again, from what I'm hearing, a lot of people like are saying, "Oh, this game is cringe," and I'm here for it. And
yeah, that basically seems to be what the vibe is, right? Like, the game is trying really hard, but it's trying really hard in such a way that, like, it almost wraps around to being, if not ironic, at least funny.
yeah.
Like, the game is taking itself seriously, but it feels like it's not trying to make you take it seriously, right?
Yeah.
Which is a stance I prefer. And you get to show off your outfits and stuff. I know there's been a lot of both complaints and observations about the fashion sense of the game. To me, it looks like you have your choice. You can do the kind of, like, Neo RPG casual wear, or you can do the Final Fantasy classic with way too many belts.
Let's keep moving.
Sorry, I'm just distracted by Jack Garland's fashion choices here. That shirt is so untucked.
Oh, job trees.
Could you even tuck in that shirt? It's so huge. But yeah, so that was State of Play. I think it was a good one. Like I said, I know some people were kind of like laid back, but like, I think I've gotten used to like these Sony style ones and Nintendo Directs. Just like, no, it's only like 20 minutes. They're not trying to like break any new ground. They just want to show you some trailers, remind you about some release dates, maybe get some new announcements on release dates and stuff out there, and just keep up the vibes. And I think it's cool, right? Like, how many E3 pressers have y'all watched and then been like, that sucked? I watched, you know, an hour of that. That was awful. Guys, remember, I think it was a couple years ago. Yeah, E3 was canceled last year for sure. But remember that 2K or Gearbox one that was 90% Randy Pritchford bothers movie stars in their trailers about the Borderlands movie, which is probably going to be awful and still isn't out yet? Like, remember that? That was an E3 tentpole. Was that?
Oh god,
bad.
It was bad.
Listen, I know sometimes like whatchamacallit, like fucking Phil Spencer from Xbox comes out in his t-shirt and blazer and is like, and here's Keanu Reeves, and Keanu Reeves shouts, "You're breathtaking," but not everything can be like that.
No.
But so you've been playing this demo, and I believe you played the previous demo as well, right?
Yeah.
So you've been playing this demo for about 40 minutes. How's it feel?
It feels pretty good. Like, again, if you're someone who's played like Neo or Ninja Gaiden, you'll slot right in and you'll like understand what's going on. There's like a little systems here, like little systems that you got to get. Oops, that was the fire spell. Hang on, wait, how do I do this? Oh, this way, okay. Alright, cool. I like that. Basically, I'm playing around with the magic right now. Basically, I have my stick, and then I hold it, and then it charges up, and it's just all like, yeah! Depending on how much MP you get. But, no, it's probably not going to be as hard as one would consider like a Soulsborne game, but I think it has enough difficulty and technical and ability on it to stand on its own. But the thing that worries me most about this game is people are just going to look at it and be like, this ain't Elden Ring.
I mean, that definitely seems to be the vibes right now. I mean, it would seem like tone-wise this is going for something different.
Well, of course, but
and like hopefully it has... Is that a question or a statement, Axe? Because if it's a statement, I want to know what you're basing that on. Citation needed. Axe saying it'll be as hard as Nio.
Well, no, I mean, like...
Or Ninja Gaiden.
Well, no, I think Axe is right on that, because, again, this is made by Team Ninja, who did make Neo and Ninja Gaiden. So, no, like, if it's, like, as difficult as those games, I'm like, yes, no, that makes perfect sense to me. But yeah, that's the thing of it's like...
I mean, that kind of makes me want to play it less then.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't really want to get my ass kicked. I got other games to play. Like, I know that Neo's not known to be, like, super hard, but a lot of people were like, yeah, this game's so hard. Every time a guy says that to me, I'm like, I instantly want to play it less. Like, the moment a guy is excited for how hard it is, not to say that Axe said that, but, like... I'm just curious, like, I know it's made by the same guys, but also it is kind of like repping those Final Fantasy vibes. Would it be as quote-unquote difficult? I mean, you don't seem to be having too much trouble with this.
Well, no, I think...
Actually wasn't giving me a citation. I don't know if this is just his opinion or what, like... Because... Axe, I'm going to say this. I don't want to bog down the conversation too much, but since you seem insistent on talking about the game that Lucky is playing right now, you have ping-ponged between, like, asking Lucky for clarifying questions and not knowing anything about this game to speaking authoritatively about it, so I want to know what you're basing this on. But no, talking about the Elden Ring thing, like, I think there is a good point in chat, also from Max, that this isn't open world, right? So I think it's different.
Oh yeah, but even though if it's completely different, when people are like inevitably, like we were talking about this last week, people are just gonna make the comparison anyway, and it's gonna influence decisions. We were actually talking about this post state of play, talking about the sales of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, which were statistically were low at start.
Yes.
It had a slow launch. Square Enix was disappointed in those numbers versus like how much ad buy they did, and it kind of like rose in reception as time went on.
Yes.
Because guess what? Guardians was a really fucking good game.
So it's like one of those things. If people like go into like again, like I think they've done a good thing in the marketing. Honestly, like they haven't like. While they have been like they haven't been going crazy with marketing, but they let people get their own opinions without like necessarily trying to oversell it on mechanics or gameplay. It's like, no, check out this kind of cringy game. It's like,
yeah, and I think that trailer marketing, like mixing gameplay and cutscenes, is like, look at this action. You know, it's Team Ninja. Their action's crazy. They've got a shitload of different animations for Jack Garland here to fucking turn dudes into crystal and shatter them apart. Seriously, there's so many I've seen. But also, I feel like the trailers have kind of played up the trippiness of the story vibes, right?
Yeah.
Like this being a remake of 1. So, hopefully that'll keep people interested. I mean, this definitely has... Well, I'm not sure, but I think I want to say that because it is still titled a Final Fantasy game, right? Final Fantasy Origin, it's still got access to a pedigree that runs a little bit deeper than even a FromSoft, right?
well, yeah.
Like, obviously, I do think that From Software has a big Soulsborne pedigree. You know, Dark Souls has been around for a while. Arguably even longer, because Demon Souls, even though that was still growing pains, right? But let's see. Demon Souls was... OG Demon Souls was... That's the remake.
I got a lot of cast codes. What the fuck?
Remake of Demon Souls, originally published in 2009. Okay, so yeah, so Souls has a long pedigree, but not like a Final Fantasy pedigree, right? Because, for reference, Final Fantasy 1 was 1987. So there's a multi-generational energy to Final Fantasy, and I think that this is going to capture some of that, right?
Oh, I think so.
But you are absolutely right. I have also seen, people talking about how, Elden Ring sales are beating up Horizon and Dying Light 2 and whatever. And I'm like, I think I remember let me see if I can find the exact list it was. But in my opinion, I was like, the only one of those that should be shocking you is Horizon. People were giving a fuck about Dying Light 2. I guess it was delayed a long time, but...
Axe has clearly not been paying attention to any of the coverage of this game and is just literally shooting from the hip.
It happens. I think he said earlier he hasn't really been paying attention. I mean, I think it's kind of weird to just be firing from the hip while Lucky plays the demo when there's, like, a lot more information out there.
Yeah. It's because it's not a remake or a prequel. It's a retelling.
Yes. I mean, we can argue that that's a remake, but that's a remake in, like, the way that, like, when somebody writes, one of those, kitschy, whatchamacallits, like, one of those, like, novelization, recontextualizations of, like, a Greek myth or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
You've seen them. Like, that's what this is, like, we're putting a tilt on the perspective, we're doing the weird things. Also, I was talking, you weren't paying attention to the things I was saying. I feel like you're paying attention very intently to the video, because you keep talking about stuff that even Lucky isn't observing upon. Actually, no. So, I will say I was wrong. The headline was beating the sales of Pokemon, as in Arceus, Horizon and Dying Light 2. Again, Dying Light 2 is still the odd duck out there. I don't know why the fuck that's even on the same level. Let me look up. Hold on. Dying Light 2 Metacritic.
Last time I checked, it wasn't that great.
76 Metascore, 4.9 user ratings.
Oof.
I've got some people like 0s, 4s, 8s, 10s. Oh, apparently there might be some of this might be some review bombing because it doesn't have like certain localization options. I don't understand. It's like, by the way, don't trust Cyberpunk reviews on Steam. They're getting review bombed by Russian bots because CD Projekt Red said they weren't going to do any more business in Russia. You know, duh. Those guys are Polish, aren't they?
I believe so.
Yeah, I mean, if I was in Poland and Russia was being aggressive in Eastern Europe, I wouldn't want to do anything.
Did I get just here? I feel
but
like
yeah,
I missed
this is
something.
like... There was... When this game was first, like, percolating, Stranger of Paradise, the Final Fantasy Origin title was the main thing people knew from rumors, and the idea was it was going to be a FF1 remake, but later it kind of came out that, like, no, this is, like, we're taking elements like the story structure of FF1, like the enemies you recognize and some of the characters and place names, you know, translating the kingdom name is Cornelia, not Corneria, because LR flips, and the infamously dogshit localization back in the day, right? Just literally working from spreadsheets and having no communication with Japan.
How far we have come.
Yeah. Yeah, we've come so far that isn't I remember rightly, it's 16 where they wanted to do the English audio track first.
Oh no, no, that's definitely a thing. Yoshi P said that they were doing it because they wanted to basically start with the English track so it sounded so the script would sound more natural. Because that's something. So yeah, no, so they did the English recording first and then they're localizing it into other languages. Which is probably why everyone's probably going to sound strangely British.
And that happens a lot with studios as well. I noticed that's a thing where, like, sometimes Nintendo will do, like, Britain first. But yeah, so Dying Light 2, by the way, 76 on Metacritic. It seems like there's a decent number of, like, praiseful, positive reviews, but there's like, at least half as many just kind of, like, reviews. I still don't think that, like, hype-wise, that, like, even if it's got good reviews, I don't feel like it was getting the marketing push that, like, a Pokemon was.
Well, I think the problem with Dying Light 2 was it's been delayed so many times and had its, like, marketing so spread out that people weren't necessarily sure what to do. Because I've been seeing ads for, like, Dying Light. I want to say for Dying Light 2 for, like, I want to say years. Yeah,
the game was delayed a long time.
So I'm not even sure what to feel. Like, I did like the first Dying Light. I never beat it, but, you know, running around, you know, punching zombies while you parkour, it's kind of fun.
Yeah, and if you like that sort of thing, that seems to be the vibe. Like, that's still fine. Generally favorable reviews. It's got improved movement and stuff. You know, really good parkour. I feel like I know some stuff have complained about some of the narrative stuff. Well, let's see. When was the... On Wikipedia, it says the game has generally received favorable reviews with praise dedicated to the combat, parkour system, and open world, but criticism for the story. Yeah, so it's kind of like... The general consensus seems to be the gameplay is fun and cool. Some of the, like, storytelling or narrative decisions are kind of meh. If you're still down for just zombie parkour stuff, you'll probably have a fine time. I cannot... Oh, here we go. Development. Okay. Blah, blah. Fragility. Blah, blah, blah. Chris Avallone. Which is Dark Age for Humanity. Blah, blah, blah. I mean, I feel like I can understand where maybe some of these vibes are coming from about the narrative. I'm like, I don't like what they're saying about what they wanted to go for this. The team was inspired by Walking Dead and Game of Thrones.
I don't think those two should necessarily come together. Just saying.
Well, I know it, when they say that, I know what that means. That means, dark, people could die, dark, zombies, dark, piss shit, dark. And I'm just like, all right, guys, calm down. was announced at 2018 E3. The game was originally going to be released in 2020 and was delayed out of its early 2020 window for like 2 years. So, yeah. So this was a game that was originally had like a 2-year announcement cycle that turned into a 4-year. And I also think the general vibe it sounds like I'm getting is just that the game suffered from missing its like whatchamacallit, like it's just tone.
Mhm.
Like it's missed its pop culture tone window. Guys, I feel like, you know, really dark, depressing, cynical stories about humanity probably aren't going to be cool for a while. If you were developing one of those, like pre-Backstreet Boys reunion tour, you may have a bad time. Because, and honestly, like, from what I've seen out of, like, Elden Ring, right, like, that game is dark and freaky, and a lot of people are talking about, like, especially, I think, with the graphical, you know, fidelity, the enemy designs are, like, even freakier than normal.
Yeah, I know, doesn't stop people from making waifus.
Oh, I mean, but those designs are not the freaky one. I'm talking about spiders that are fingers. Hands. Spiders made of hands. Human hand. Again. It's gross and weird. And yes, I've seen some clips of that. But at the same time, like... Actually, yeah, I think Axe just said it really good in chat. Elden Ring is not depressing, it's just disturbing, right? Like... That is a vibe that I think, like, the Dark Souls style games are usually pretty good at, is, like, they are dark fantasy with, like, dark worlds where shit is kind of, like, low test, there's not a lot of hope, like, people are struggling, there's lots of zombies, you know, the cosmos is really fucked, but, like, not in, like, a depressing, like, or edgy, like, oh, look how edgy it is, or, oh, look how sad we are. It's just like, yep, shit sucks, what are you gonna do? Go punch this giant man with a hammer 50 times. Like, they don't really wallow in how dark it is. They're much more, like, atmospherically dark, if that makes sense.
That makes sense.
Like, you just get the dark vibes, which does actually resonate with a lot of people because, you know, shit's a little fucked in case you haven't noticed. But at the same time, it's not, like, trying to revel in it. Like, I feel like shows like Game of Thrones or the TV version of The Walking Dead, like, they kind of, like, revel in, like, this isn't your normal upbeat story. Oh, you thought we had hope and change and stuff? Now it's all dark and shit, and all your favorite characters get murdered. Blah. Look at all this gore. And then I feel like culturally, as we moved into the late, you know, 2010s into the new 2020s, and shit is actually kind of fucked up, people are like, yeah, suddenly this isn't so fun anymore. Whereas this, at least, like, Stranger of Paradise seems like fun, right?
Right.
Like, it's having fun being this weird and dark and cringy. You turn that weird tentacle face into crystal and you punch down a tower, right? Like,
Yeah.
Cool. But so, gameplay-wise, it feels good. Question mark?
Oh yeah, no, it's like I'm rusty at this. I haven't played in a long time, but no, it's like the buttons do what I want to do. I can say it's a little confusing when there's a fuck ton of things on screen, but that's how it be.
Yeah.
Like, I'm picking up a lot of equipment, so I think this is like probably my complaint right now is I'm constantly going into this screen to be all like, okay, did I actually get anything better? So I can be like,
Yeah, and I wonder, I guess we'll have to see if that's, like, true to the final version, because you never know, they might have spiced it up for the demo, right?
all right.
It's like that Babylon's Fall network test where people were like, oh, these assets are reused from 14, and then fucking Yoshi has to come out and be like, yes, my friends over at the Babylon's Fall team needed some assets, so I let them repurpose some Final Fantasy 14 assets for a certain level slice that just happens to be in the network test. Please don't yell about this. Thank you.
Actually, if I think I saw something earlier about, like, I think there's an area in this game that looks almost exact, that, like, has the same aesthetics as one of the dungeons in Final Fantasy 14, and people are like, oh my god, it's copying, and I'm just all like, it's Final Fantasy, man, everything's connected.
Yeah.
What was I looking for here? Those are Strider gates. Actually, no, I'm gonna keep these because keep my points up. Shadow Cloak.
Speaking of games, by the way, that are probably bad, people do not like Babel. It's still like a 40 on Metacritic.
Don't like what?
Babylon's Fall.
Oof.
Yeah, we'll see if that turns around. But anyway, I don't know if it will. But yeah, I can see kind of what you're talking about, like the gearishness. That could be an issue if it blows your roll. They probably
Like,
won't show you a lot of different assets and stuff, though.
Like, I like gear. I really do.
Well, as we've discussed with Horizon, there is a point where too much is too much, right? And you see this a lot with, like, looter shooters. Like, I remember this from certain phases of, like, Borderlands or playing the original Destiny or Destiny 2, where, like, sometimes you just wake up covered in guns and you're like, oh, all of these suck. Why do I even... They're not even worth, like, trashing. Why have you given me these shit guns, right? I think Destiny had to... That was a big thing with the OG Destiny. They had to, like, rebalance their loot mechanic. Because people were abusing the loot cave to get good drops because there weren't good drops otherwise. But yeah, also Horizon, I think, also has a gear problem.
Well, I think it has a gear problem in a different way than.
I do think, yeah, it's different because the structures are different, but like it's definitely goes to show that like even when you are like us and we are arguably like, you know, we're into the gear porn, right? Like we're gearheads. Well, I don't call it gearhead is like a car thing, but like we like the gear, we like the tech stuff. There's a point where it's too much. That point is not the same for every genre, but it's there. We've been going for about an hour. Do you want to talk about Horizon some?
Yeah, we can talk about Horizon some.
Looking giving you the job on these creatures. Cannot make out their shape through the preview window.
The Skelly-mans.
They are skeletons. I was going to say zombies? Skeletons. Another classic Final Fantasy enemy. But yeah, so Horizon. Well, so you've beat it, so if you've got any, like, high-level thoughts you can articulate now, fucking taken to the ground by a zombo.
Ah, got me again!
Wait, hold on. Did he just stab you in the chest and then you just stood up?
Yes.
Damn. Jack Garland's hardcore.
Listen,
I skeleton twice.
I gotta fight Chaos.
I'm gonna kill Chaos.
But,
yeah, fuck it. I don't care if the game is hard. I'm still sold on this. This is great. I think I'll go download the demo later, maybe. Play it myself. Shit, dude. How could I miss on this opportunity to kill Chaos? But I yelled a decent amount about Horizon because, as I said, like, Lucky, you finished it early this week.
Yes.
You were talking about having finished it when we played Uncharted 4 earlier and finished that. Set off this Monday. Going into Lost Legacy on our upcoming Monday. So I was like, well, okay, that means we'll probably want to talk about it as a whole. I'll try and power through this game over the week and catch up.
I remember this room. You run in, and there's skeletons behind you. Get up, you asshole.
Just the Dark Souls of Final Fantasy. But, oh, that's good. At least you can hit them while they're hiding.
Oh, yeah.
I love that.
Take that.
So my current observation is that Horizon is a game that does not. If you try to power through Horizon, Horizon will fight you. It is a game that does not want to be powered through, which may or may not affect your enjoyment of it. I've got my own thoughts and feelings, but I yelled about it a lot yesterday on Let's Talk to just kill some time. So, Lucky, why did you take this opportunity to yell about Horizon for a little bit?
Alright, so Horizon, I think the worst thing about Horizon is not necessarily its combat or its, or anything. Oh, shit. Ah, god damn it! I keep getting sent to the bone zone here. But, like, like, Horizon, overall, I want to say, it's a good game. Like, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed the combat. I enjoy running around. I enjoyed the exploration. I do think that they acquired the key to Fate's door. That is an edgy fucking name. I love it. I now hold the key to Fate. But, Words me. But there's definitely some things in it that... Big door swings. There's definitely... There's definitely some things in it that like that are sources of frustration. Like, like overall, the game's good, but also I kind of feel like the scale is kind of weird. I can't necessarily... Omega, did you beat Pharaoh's Tomb?
Yeah. You talked about that last night, and I had plenty of time while the episode was editing. I got through Thebes and did Pharaoh's Tomb, which, as you said, that's like a very interesting segment where we do like a full-blown like genre shift, right? Like we get like classic like speculative fiction horror shit. And go full-blown Hitchcock, by the way. You don't ever see what the quote-unquote the monster is. You just get the voice logs and some vague images and some other people's reactions, and you're just like, oh, it bad.
Oh, it bad.
And it was bad. But yeah, so no, like that was a really different and interesting segment. And I did accomplish that, yes. I'm currently on the main story quest, Gemini, which is I go back to base and we do the Gemini thing. I don't know how much more of the game is left after that.
I will say, once you... The reason why I beat the game is because I was like, oh, I'll go do Gemini and, you know, call it quits after that. I did not call it quits after that.
Yeah, you get sucked into the point of no return, don't you?
Completing Gemini is what I call the soft point of no return. There's an actual point. There's actually a point of no return. They'll actually call it out in game. It's like, hey, once you call in companions, you're in the final bit. I was like, oh, okay. But once you complete Gemini, you're just like you enter the climax. Well, not the climax. What's the penultimate? That's what it is. You enter the penultimate. Like, you got to start bringing everything to a head. No, like, you know, I can talk about it a little bit. Yeah, because how long has Horizon been out? It's been out a few weeks.
It's been like 4 weeks.
Yeah, I know. So,
like, we should... It's been out long enough that people playing it will probably be familiar, and if you are not playing it and don't want to be spoiled, close your ears, I guess.
No, because... So, Pharaoh's Tomb is in the ruins of San Francisco because you need to go get the Omega clearance. So you can have the super ultimate code so you can boop all Hephaestus' snoot and, you know, get him back into Gaia. So...
And this is after we pre-established that cauldron you couldn't activate. Gemini has 2 cores. That's why it's called Gemini, because it's on a fault line.
Yes.
Which is why it's borked.
Borked. Black mage, white mage, red mage. Interesting. Okay. So
lucky I have secreted to you a meme in the mod.
Oh shit. Jesus.
I haven't played Arceus. I don't know why so many people. Oh my god, YouTube, can you please? Oh wait, hold on. Here we go. Got hide user on this channel. I don't know if that's working, but you.
Who, on the real talk, who thinks this fucking works?
I don't know. Machines.
What are they trying to accomplish with the spam? Seriously, what?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like they're thinking somebody will think, ooh, nakedhd.xyz. Online strips without clothing.
I don't.
Where the fuck were we?
Oh, I was talking about Horizon.
Right, there we are. Yeah, I was completely distracted by that bombardment of mess.
Chaos.
But yeah, you were talking about Pharaoh's Tomb.
Oh yeah, Pharaoh's Tomb. So Pharaoh's Tomb is definitely when I realized like something was weird about this game, of that it's really fucking weird compared to the first one. And at the same time, it got like super strange. Like in the first game, yes, we have robot dinosaurs and we have robot dinosaurs and technology beyond our kin, but it's all stuff based on Earth and whatnot. Nothing's like super weird. But then we get into the second game and all of a sudden we have people from the fucking Sirius star system, which is
Sirius is close. I have looked at this for other reasons, but it's not. It's still like, what do they say? Like 10 light years away. Something like that, because it was like 20 years round trip for the signals.
Oof. Yeah. But
they arrived in a spaceship. They have super advanced, like, weird robots.
Like, apparently
they're all alive.
They're all immortal, but through a combination of like, through and stuff. And they're coming here with their banana machines and space weapons. I'm like, okay, that's very out there, I guess.
And like we kind of like obviously we knew that there were force field technologies, right, because of the first game, but they seemed very limited, right? Like force fields in like cauldrons and stuff seemed mostly to be like they're not Axe, they're not across the galaxy. I literally told you Sirius is right next door. The dog star is actually like that's really close. I mean, it's not like Alpha. Well, technically the system is now called Proxima Centauri because it's a trinary system, but Proxima Centauri is like 2 light years away and may have habitable planets. So like that's we've got some shit that's in spitting range, but Sirius is relatively close. It's in the same what we call the Orion arm. Which, by the way, we aren't even in a proper arm of the galaxy. We are in like a tiny baby sub-arm between a couple of others. Like, in case you thought Earth was special, we are in such like a backwoods suburb of the galaxy. God, that is shooting a lot of beams.
This is Omberry.
Well, I mean, you could call them visitors, but they're literally they're returning. Like, the Far Zenith project was mentioned in the first game that was the backup to Zero Dawn, was we were going to send people to Earth, but its antimatter containment drive fucking exploded, and they're getting dead. We don't need to worry about them. Turns out, that's, what was that meme? So that was a fucking lie, right?
Yeah.
Like, literally the opening of this sets up that it's a fucking lie, and that they didn't actually explode, and they went to Sirius. And then they came back for some reason, because they didn't have their own Gaia. They did still get the Apollo database, so they've got an Apollo backup because Ted Faro, motherfucker, fucked it up.
Like, if there's something I do want to I want to call out here, I think some people kind of felt ambiguous about Ted Faro in the first game and stuff, and I do feel like Horizon Forbidden West is like doubling down. I was like, no, Ted Faro was an asshole. You should not like him. He's a dick.
Yeah, no. I know Axis talked about that in our chat before talking about Horizon, and I actually have seen that opinion elsewhere on the internet. Like, when I finished the first game, several people are like, so was Ted Faro like a bad guy? Was he malicious? Was he just confused? Did he really want to just let people forget the sins of the past? No. Forbidden West in no uncertain terms is like, no. Ted Faro is a huge asshole. He is a complete control freak. He thinks everything is about him. Literally, Aloy has a line of like, of course, other people die, and this asshole feels sorry for himself, right?
Right.
Like, he is that guy, and it totally fucks him. Not in, like, a satisfying way, though. Like, I don't feel satisfied with that end, but it definitely unambiguously says the fact that, like, no, you are not supposed to like Ted Faro. He is a bad guy. He is not the primary villain, but he is a bad dude. Like, a lot of this is his fault, and he is just not a cool guy.
No.
And I think he's really meant to be like a Shadow archetype to Elizabeth.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, it's supposed to be like a strong counterpoint because spoilers, I guess, but like, so Liz dies early. She doesn't even like live through the thing where Ted kills all the alphas. Like, she gets stuck outside to make sure Zero Dawn works and dies, right?
Right.
She doesn't even get to see her dream come to fruition. Ted Faro escapes after murdering all the other alphas like a bitch to his secret bunker in San Francisco, which Lucky is describing, right? And talking about, like, the weirdness of this game, this bunker, guys, he's literally built himself a fucking underground Egyptian tomb pyramid. Hey, did you get it? He's called Pharaoh. All of his things are named after Egyptian things. Do you get it? He's a white guy who really likes Egypt, and I'm just like, damn, this is, like, way too on the fucking nose. But no, he has a secret pyramid attached to a geothermal power rift, by the way, in San Francisco. Don't know if that works out. And he has undergone radical treatment to be immortal. Yeah, Ted Farrow's not dead yet. At least when we meet him.
No.
Instead, he is some kind of, apparently, if I had to guess, because like I said, they don't ever show you any of this on screen. It's all just, like, vague and suggestive. But I think he's, like, some kind of, like, Resident Evil Metroid thing, like, hugging the reactor core.
I think he's just like, oh shit, he's just some huge biomass thing.
Because they talk about how, like, his cell regeneration, it has been fixed. He is immortal, but it's actually too fast. So he's just, like,
probably
growing extra new cells cancer style.
Yeah,
right?
I'm about to say.
So Aloy just sees, like, his biorhythms on a monitor and realizes he's still alive and, like, looks at the reactor screen and just makes a face. Which I love, by the way. Like, that's all the reaction you need is Aloy figures out that Ted Farrow is technically still alive. His biomonitors are up. He's gross and he's in the reactor, and she just makes, like I said, just makes like a face. And then CO comes in and is like, I must see, I must know. And Aloy's like, you really don't. And he's like, fuck you, I'm gonna look. Ah, sand damage, burn it all. Shoot those two, they witnessed it. Wow.
Yeah, because, and like this is another thing that I want to talk about that segment. The whole thing about the Quinn.
Yeah.
And the Quinn is weird because they are, I would say, more technologically advanced, but they have China problems. That's the best way I'm gonna fucking put it. They put a lot of emphasis on, you know, tradition, you know, like specific knowledge. You know, not everyone can have it, and the thing that kills me the most is like they have an emperor, you know, just a straight out emperor. They send an emperor's cousin, someone named CEO. By the way, this is spelled CEO.
Yeah, it's CO, and they talk about him. Yes, my CO. He's the greatest CO. I was elected by the board of overseers to accompany the CO. Yeah, it's like again, the Quen are actually like a lot more like some of the more like freaky deaky post-apoc horror tribes you might expect, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like honestly, if you think about it, most of the tribes we meet in Horizon are like just weird neo-primitive tribes, right? Like,
well, yeah,
the
no,
Nora
like,
have this weird obsession with the mother goddess and motherhood because they have Gaia in a computer on their land, so it's like all that cultural filtering. The Banuk like have this weird techno-shamanism thing.
Well, yeah, that's because someone got into a cauldron once and, you know, figured it out.
Yeah, and they also have a rogue AI on their land. I'm not quite sure. I don't remember enough about the Karja's history about why they're sun worshippers, but like, yeah, they're sun worshippers with a little bit of like a blood sports vibe that they've kind of like recently come out of. Like, it makes sense. The Oseram are just the weird tech guys, right? They're the scavenger tribe.
They're just fucking dwarves.
Yeah.
They like foraging and they like drinking and fighting.
Yeah, and then you've got the Utaru are like, they're a little bit in with the post-apoc technology, but if this was like a fantasy setting, you would just be like, yeah, they just have weird gods that till their lands or something, right?
Right.
Like, and then the Tanakh are, again, they have like the weird post-apoc vibes of their soldierism, but they're still read like an interesting like primitive culture, right? Like, they have this weird military-focused culture. They're divided into 3 sub-tribes that have come together by this one guy's vision. I do kind of feel like, though, because the three tribes we're really introduced to in Forbidden West are the Quen, the Tanakh, and the Utaru. Sorry, I don't know why. I keep wanting to say Utini like a fucking Jawa. Jawas would also blend in perfectly with Horizon. All of them do feel like Guerrilla wanted to, like, I guess it's like you said, right? Like, Forbidden West is a much weirder game than the first one. It feels like Guerrilla wanted to be like, okay, now that you realized you're in a, like, post-apocalyptic hyper-future, now we can get, like, weirder and sci-fi-er with this, right?
Right.
And it is weird. Some of these beats are strange. They're not bad. They're weird, though.
Yeah, and, like, I'm not gonna get into it, like, because I said I did beat the game, so I have understood what the hook into the third game is.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, okay, like we've come. It's kind of full circle, but it's also on a scale that I'm just not understanding, and it is only like possible through like complete and utter gross negligence. I'm just like, why? How? Like Gorilla has a vision, and haha! I did not get the bone this time. Fuck you, bitch. Good job, me. But
got him. Mm-hmm. I mean, I almost feel like, because, not to get like political about it, I kind of wonder if maybe Guerrilla decided they need to like double down a little on what the game is saying, based on how life hasn't really changed since the first Horizon came out. Like, they clearly have like a vision and a message in the first Horizon about like, corporate greed and lack of oversight and letting your technological fanciness outpace your environmental sustainability or whatever. And then like Forbidden West is just like even more like, hey, don't trust those dirty corpos to have your best interests at heart. They're fuckers. You need to like, which I do want to say, I'm kind of surprised. Maybe it's because of just the general hypocrisy of the journalism establishment. Mm-hmm. I kind of feel a little strange that like nobody picks on this heavy-duty anti-corporate message from Horizon, but every motherfucker with an armchair was like, yeah, Cyberpunk 2077. It's ironic, isn't it, that this game was bad because of corporate reasons, but it is about anti-corporate rebellion, yes?
I mean, again, I blame the Cyberpunk thing on everyone just wanting to dogpile on that hot button issue and get them clicks.
Yeah, it's a thing. Like, talking about like how good Elden Ring is, like, I legitimately, like, because I said this last week, I think I've heard people talk about the like journalists are still bitching about like gameplay and stuff and difficulty, and the UX thing has become hot button. But I genuinely think that it's like music critics. We've reached a point of saturation where like, no, people are just the audience is so invested in Elden Ring that no matter how much they want to, outlets can't shit talk it because it would reflect poorly on them. Like, that would mean they would lose credit and viewership rather than Elden Ring would lose sales. But yeah, no, my understanding of where the like people talking about the setup for a third game and stuff is that like Horizon is doing the like sequel escalation, right? Mm-hmm. Like, we keep building up. It's not enough that like the first game is like Aloy doesn't know where she comes from. We clearly get that something is going on with her, like that she's a clone or something, because we, the audience, have information that she doesn't. And then, oh my god, she needs to like save the world from like this horrific machine reactivating the first round of horrific machines that destroyed us, and like all that stuff. And then the second game is like, yeah, so stopping Hades was important, but also it's a symptom of a much greater problem, which is that somebody made Hades go rogue and caused Gaia to self-destruct, and that's gonna fuck us in like 6 months. Mm-hmm. And we need to solve that. And then my impression of where people are talking about like the game overall is that, and the vibe I'm getting from the plot is that, like, we're going to resolve some of it, but we're not, because of the game's time frame, we're still not going to actually get this turned around, and we're still going to have to deal with the overarching problem of, like, why did the Zenith show up to Earth again? Why did they have to leave their colony alone? And also, like, actually deal with still the problem that we haven't quite fixed the biosphere, right? Like,
oh, don't worry, they're gonna explain why the Far Zenith had to leave and all that.
Oh, I expected they would explain it, but that's not an obvious thing, so I'm like, okay, so that's going to be a reveal, which means that's going to be like a whole other fucking thing that Aloy's going to have to deal with, because that's just her poor lot in life.
Yeah.
What's this? This Tanakh settlement's commander has a problem. I, Aloy, will solve it, along with my way to solve all your other fucking problems.
I don't have time for this. Tell me everything that's wrong with your life right now.
Yeah, basically, that's what Aloy does. Like, a random stranger will be just... So many quests start with, like, just two characters complaining about something going wrong for them, right? And Aloy's just like, excuse me, I couldn't help it over here. You're having a problem right now. I mean, she is, though. That is one thing I will say is really good about the storytelling. Like, after you complete the Aether quest, right? Mm-hmm. Like, that gives you your fucking guy still here. Report. And then the next time you post a message, user in timeout. YouTube, I need a ban button.
Yeah, why don't we have a ban button?
We have timeout, but there's no like there's no like ban from chat. So if the robot keeps coming back, they just keep coming back.
This is so weird. I don't like this.
I mean, I think this is the first time we've ever run into a persistent problem, right?
Well, yeah.
I mean, hopefully, like, eventually this volume of reports and stuff that YouTube is getting will awaken a human or like, trip a machine to be like, all right, hold on, we need to investigate this. But we'll see in 300 seconds. But no, like, so after you complete Aether, which I find is unfortunate because it was literally the last one I did, because, once again, Horizon has this issue where everything has, like, 2 extra steps for some reason. Like, literally everything has 2 extra steps. Some of it makes sense of, like, well, if you go to the place, that doesn't solve the problem at the place, but just the way the game is, it's like, and now you must go to this completely different location, and then come back, and then do another thing. But after you do all that, then you're, you know, the chief champion. You saw the vision of Unity, which is really cool, by the way. I think the Unity is, like, really rad and impactful. And they do the fucking salute, which is adorable. But, like, you do all that stuff, and then every motherfucker is like, oh, it's the champion.
Oh, yeah, well,
Outlander is the champion.
Well, yeah, no, it's like, it's an interesting thing, because, actually, because I was thinking about this, like, post, you know, Horizon, like, everyone, like, all the Karja and Oseram, and, well, there's really no Bannook there, but everyone calls, you know, Ayla from that part the Savior, you know, the Savior Meridian, that's her title. But once you start getting more into the Tanakh land, no one calls you that. Not until you start until you do the thing, and then you become the champion. So you, like,
yeah.
I think it's an interesting thing is they don't, like, they never invalidate what you necessarily did in the first game. Shit, I got boned.
Yeah, it's just, your street cred's not the same, right?
Right.
Which is true. Like, you go to a different area, it's explicitly stated that the Utaru and the Tanakh, like, they don't give a shit about the Karja. Some of them are still butthurt about it, despite the fact that the Karja really have changed. Like, Aloy would know she's a Nora. That, by the way, that's a great conversation you can have with a Tanakh, right? Where she talks about, like, I think, is that with Kotala? I think it is, where he asks, like, hey, what's your deal, Outlander? What's your tribe like? And she's like, yeah, I'm from the Nora. We live out in the, you know, back east. We also pushed back the Karja and the Red Raids, and the Tanakh they're talking to, and I think it is Kotalo, is like, damn, I thought only we, the Tanakh, ever did that. You know, much street cred, thumbs up.
Kotalo is great. Again, like, the thing about, like, Horizon is, like, I really do enjoy the character interactions. Like,
yeah, the character rating's really good. They've
like,
done. We talked about this, I think, literally day one, as you were doing some of the early dialogue. We were like, man, they've done a lot to, like, spice up the dialogue and, like, give everybody these really entertaining animations and stuff, right?
Oh, yeah. Like, they do a lot, like, again, they tried to make a lot of the dialogue a lot more, like, comedic, you know, like, fucking talking about, like, you know, right out the bat when you're in Chain Scrape dealing with, you know, the blacksmith and the woman who wants her lucky hammer fixed, and they're just constantly having bants with each other, and it's hilarious.
The woman never gets her hammer fixed.
No, or she keeps breaking it, one of the two. But, I'm thinking about words here, sorry. But, like, when you meet Kotalo, you meet him at the embassy, and he's very gruff and, like, you know, he goes through the fight, and then you know, you meet him later when you actually get to the Memorial Grove, and he's very upset for reasons, because, you know, he's kind of missing, you know, an arm. Yeah. And he's very like, I don't know how this is gonna fucking work, and he's very gruff and rough and doesn't really want to ever fucking talk to you, but
and when you talk to him about the problem that, oh gosh, I forgot what the chieftain of the tribe's name is.
Dipshit.
Blade face Blade. Not the Sky Clan, the main guy.
Hikaru,
right. I was like, it starts with an H. When he, like, sends you on your quest and you go talk to Kotalo, like, way up in the whatever, Salt something, I think, maybe, or whatever. You go talk to him and he's just sitting on a cliff chilling, and he's just like, the chief has sent you. Doesn't matter, it's not gonna work. The guy we're gonna go talk to is an asshole. He's not gonna do anything. Blah, blah, blah. It all sucks. And, like, he's really down, like you said. Like, it's not just about his arm, too. He's just really jaded because, like, he's worked really hard to be a marshal, and then, like, not only did he like physically come up short, he like got injured and lost an arm, but also like his people, the Sky Clan, are being little baby men, little baby people, or at least their commander is.
I do love how Aloy solved that situation. Dude says, as long as the bulwark is safe, my people will not move. So what does Aloy do? She literally goes destroy it. Well, she doesn't destroy it, but she definitely blows up a bit of it.
Yeah, she breaks part of it. Turns out there was a tank in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then she drops the exact words on him. He's
Yeah.
like, he yells down, "What have you done, Outlander?" And Aloy's like, "Hey, motherfucker. You said that so long as your guys are safe behind the bulwark, you wouldn't go anywhere. Guess what?"
And Gatalo's just like,
gotta.
and Gatalo's just like, damn. And he slowly warms up to you, like he joins your crew, you know. And this is the other thing I like about this, like I love the base. I love the base because of all just the little, what's the word I want to call them, where it's just conversations conversations happening in the background. What do you call that?
Yeah, they have, I guess you would just say background dialogue or ambient dialogue.
Ambient dialogue, that's the word I was looking for. And you can hear them talking to each other, like listening to Zoe and Varl talk, or them talk to Aaron. You just hear that
his heavy metal music, all that stuff.
And then you can just go talk to them. It's like, hey, well, how are you going with the companions? And they'll just talk about like all the little things that they do together. And I'm like, oh no, that's great. I love this. And you get the sense that, oops, I think I killed everything. I'm grinding right now, by the way, guys, because Garland's gonna keep kicking my ass unless I don't, because I'm horrible at these kind of games. But
hey, at least that's an option, you know. You can just go back and grind. That's always good, right?
Yeah, no, I just gotta go touch the cube and everyone respawns.
We got it built in.
Mm-hmm.
It truly is the Dark Souls of Final Fantasy.
Let me check my leveling up things here.
Ooh. But yeah, no. Also, I like the like environmental touches, right? Like, eventually, Aaron sets up a machine strike at his table. You know,
everyone
Varl
starts.
and Zoe have their own room. Zoe keeps adding plants.
Yeah, but like
you're too young to get this, but we can't say that because Dark Crystal is a Jim Henson thing. We can't call it Dark Crystal. That was already a really weird like shockingly dark thing that fucking Jim Henson did in like the 80s. I think it was the 90s. And then it was like Netflix. Weird dark ass puppetry shit. Check it out if you haven't. Yeah, no, like everybody adds little details like speaking of Katalo, like he takes up in the old like the rec room, right?
Yeah, and he like has Gaia reprogrammed like the boards to show like, you know, troop movements and stuff. And he's just all like, yes.
Yeah. And while obviously Beta has her own severe issues, like she's still there too, and like she's doing stuff. She's camped out in your basement like with her focus, looking stuff up. And at the very least, you know, you get the impression throughout the game that Varl does really just go down there and check on her.
Varl is such a good egg, though.
He is. He's a good boy. And by the way, that reminds me, it's kind of interesting to see how Aloy is apart from the Nora, right? Because like even if you go back, like technically before you even got to the savior part, like when you get to the third act of Zero Dawn, the Nora start calling Aloy, you know, anointed, and she's like, "Don't you fucking dare!" But they still do it anyway, right? Like this kind of like progression of your rep is built in, which is very interesting.
Oh yeah.
Technically, Aloy was a Baduk chieftain or a shaman for a little bit. Chieftain, yeah. And I appreciate the little touches, like she'll mention the Banuk when you're cold, or you can still get Banuk face paints. That makes me wonder, like, because like everybody who's played the game is like, oh yeah, it's inevitable. There's gonna be a third one at least. And like I said, I just playing the game to this point, I feel like the scale of this is like, not all this is gonna get resolved.
No.
Like some of these things are gonna be left open.
Like, I am curious to try and figure out, like, what direction they're gonna take it in. Cause we've gone all the way west. Like, here's the thing.
Talk about story and stuff as well. Okay, talk about setting, right? West.
Right.
Go for it.
Yeah, cause we start off, like, the first game takes place in, like, I want to say, like, just, like, kind of east of the Rocky Mountains. You're in, like, that, or in the Rocky Mountains. You're basically in the Colorado Great Plains area. Like, we're right up in there. You move further west, and you basically hit the Nevada, California area.
Yeah.
And the
literally San Francisco Bay is like the farthest out you can go in Forbidden West.
So I'm curious if in the third game is if we're going to keep going west and actually try and cross the ocean, because that is a plot point that is introduced with the Quinn, is that they basically had an armada that they came from across the sea, which I'm assuming is Asia. That's what I'm assuming. Like
that would, judging by kind of the way they act and some of their artistic styles, obviously they look like just, human dudes, but I believe the human population was supposed to be seeded across several points, right?
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I feel like they did probably like migrate to Asia.
Yeah, so they came across. So here's the thing: I don't know necessarily why they would have to cross the ocean, but I think that could be an interesting. See some post-apocalyptic Asian structures and whatnot in settlement. We could have fucking robot tigers. That'd be terrifying.
Yeah.
I mean, we already have robot tigers in fucking the sense of Ravagers.
I mean,
but,
know what would be there's still some weird ones. You could get like instead of a Slitherfang, get like an Asian style dragon, right?
Oh yeah, it'd be a flying machine.
Yes, and then and like Chinese lions, right?
Oh yeah,
that would be a good like mid-size fighting enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Like filling the role of like a burrower. You could get some stuff in there. I'm
No,
trying
so-
to think. Like, were there any biomes that I think they haven't done? And I think the answer is no, actually. Like, obviously there are different types of terrain all across the world, but I think through the 2 games they've hit most of the big ones. Like, you can go from like the super tall sequoias, the redwoods, right down to like a rainforest and a swamp.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you've got like, painted desert style Colorado stuff right in the first game, and then you've got the actual like sandy kind of Mojave and stuff in the second game, literally Vegas. And you've got all kinds of alpine and tundra stuff, like, and you've got beaches as well. I'm trying to think, like, what would it be? Like, you could get some different, like, more grassy wetlands, I guess. And like the place in Zero Dawn is still mountainous, so like some open grasslands, right, could be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
You need to do other stuff though, because you can't make your selling point of these big open world games with such splashy graphics. Like, look at this giant featureless plain full of grass.
I mean, sometimes it works because it depends on the graphic. Like, think of Ghost of Tsushima. There was just some fucking grassy plains, and then you're like, "This is beautiful. I love this."
Yeah, it is, but I think that part of that works because of the contrast, right? Like, because Ghost of Tsushima also has, like, these really striking, like, woodland areas, and mountainous areas, and then, like, then the third section of the island has, like, the really striking, like, the burned down trees and the snow and everything, right? Like, that's another thing, talking about, like, progression. Like, in-game progression of Forbidden West is, I feel like, kind of weird sometimes. Like, okay, you start in, like, Chainscrape and No Man's Land, which is a lot like the territory you left, right?
Oh, shit!
Though No Man's Land does have some... Oh. That is a powerful...
Oh, shit!
Oh, no, he's turning red. He's going to his second form.
He is in his second form.
And he just exploded your face, DBZ style.
I know, this guy's gone to fucking fisticuffs, and it's terrifying.
You thought I needed my sword to kick your ass.
No!
Fucking double casting fire up in here. I will say No Man's Land does have that really interesting, like, large lake area with the Titan and the Corruptors, like, buried in the water, which is kind of cool, but, like, it's mostly just, like, stuff you've kind of seen already, and then you get over the mountains, and then that next area is very interesting because you've got the Ataru area.
Yeah. Well, actually, no. If we're talking about plains, no, the Ataru area is pretty much that, because they literally just, like, it's in that satellite kind of field area, but like there is
I
just...
mean, they do have some like fields of grain.
Yeah.
Like they got some floral fields kind of in the middle lands between the desert. It's true.
Gotta keep punching things for a little bit, get stronger.
But yeah, so there is some rolling plains area, but that has like the Plainsong itself has the unique vibes of the satellite dishes and stuff.
Yeah, satellite farm.
And then there's Scalding Spear, which is the solar plant, and then down even further than that, there's the Las Vegas area. And then over like your next set of mountains, you're like in California, but it's like, I mean, some of it is actually like upland California, right? Like it's the fucking, the mighty redwood kind of a thing, right? Which is cool. There's that one tall neck, which is in like an old village, and I'm like, yeah, this is just an Ewok village. This is literally the leftover prop from Return of the Jedi, because that is in fact where George Lucas filmed that.
It might be oh, you got the phone.
It probably is a reference a little bit.
Well, I mean, actually, I was actually looking at this. Apparently, there's various little Easter eggs in there. Apparently, I don't remember where it is, but there's a fox that doesn't run away from you, but it'll lead you away, and if you follow it, it'll take you to a fox shrine. And if you scan it, you'll get it'll be listed as an Inari, and it'll make the little fox noise from Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that reference. I didn't realize that was the area. I should go back and look for the fox.
Yeah, it's somewhere. But yeah, no, like I don't even know why I brought that up. I just think I just wanted to talk about foxes.
Oh, it's just a cool note. Like there are a lot of these little Easter eggs. But then also like the Lowland Clan has like the swamp, and then you get to the beach, and then beyond the beach you've got the island, which is just the other side of the San Francisco Bay, right? And that's just kind of like a rocky tropical island with a fucking busted up ruin vibes. I do kind of feel a little weird though about that, right? Like the marketing leaned like really heavily into those ruins, and it's such a tiny slice of the map, and I mean, you can tell me, do we come back there for any reason?
Nah.
Like, is it a plot to go back there?
Not really, no.
Yeah, I feel like that was kind of a little bit of a marketing bamboozle. Like, yes, it's very striking for that Stormbird to be perched on the Golden Gate Bridge, but it's not, like, important, right?
Right.
Like, they made it seem like it was a big deal, and I don't think it was. The Ted thing was. Like, kind of. Ugh. But yeah, so, gameplay-wise, though, I think we talked about it a little bit. I have some thoughts and stuff, and I kind of want to, since you beat it, I kind of want to get your vibes on some of this. Like I said earlier, I feel like Horizon is a game that, like, weirdly adds, like, an extra step or two to everything.
I don't know necessarily. I feel
maybe not everything, but, like, it does it a lot when I think I would be done with something. Horizon feels like it usually pulls out, like, no, actually, hold on. And some of that is okay, but some of that time, like, we both talked about that thing with, like, Aether, right? Like, we go to the place, talk to the guy, and then the guy's like, go here, do this whole other thing for me, and we're both like, okay. And, like, talking about what is it called? Like, the Tall Sentinels or something? That one, like, long leg area. Like, that's another kind of a weird spot, because it's, like, you gotta go up and do all this platforming around to get to the right spot to jump on the tall neck, which is pretty normal, right? But then also when you get about a third of the way through, some stalkers show up and you can avoid them or fight them, by which I mean you kill them for their stealth generators.
You need those.
Yeah, they're important. They're a legendary tier gear. You need so many machine parts, which, to spoil the conclusion to this, is part of the reason why I think there are so many, like, weirdly tacked on fights, is because Guerrilla realized you need a lot of parts to get their economy going, and rather than pare back on the parts economy, they were just like, let's just put more machines in, you can fight. But then you get like 2/3 of the way through, and then there's some Clamberjaws that you have to fight because they're in your way, and then you finish the platforming all the while you're like kicking down rope bridges so you can reset yourself fucking Dark Souls style. But you do all that just so you can do a platforming thing on a tall neck, which you have to wait for it to circle around anyway, right? Like, right. You have no control over the tall neck. You can't influence its behavior. You have to wait for it to show up. And I'm just like, there's already a waiting element to this. Did Guerrilla, were you afraid I would, like, perfectly time my climb so I would just jump on it at the end? Like, they felt like there was a little bit of filler there, and I'm like, why did we feel the need? I guess I feel like what Guerrilla's going for is they want to make all these things that were just because there were many more cauldrons and tall necks in the first game, right?
Yes.
Like, I guess they wanted to be like, they wanted you to have less of them, but make them feel more involved. And I appreciate that sometimes. We both talked about that one cauldron in the north that turns into that tall neck in the north. Like, that was really cool, right? That has a very interesting sequence, and then it ends with this, like, really memorable sequence of, like, Aloy riding the tall neck out of the elevator just out onto the fucking mountain lakeside, and, like, that's really cool. And then some other tall neck things are not so cool. I did the tall neck in the, like, the San Francisco island, and, like, I think the concept was cool. Like, it's a tall neck that's, like, asleep in the ocean, knocked over, and you realize that scavenger machines have, like, stolen its parts, so you gotta go get them back out of some glint hawk nests or whatever, which requires, like, swimming and platforming and stuff. And then there's this really majestic cutscene where the tall neck rises out of the ocean, and then you gotta go chase his ass down and climb up on some, like, go through a whole, like, platforming puzzle solving onto some ruined buildings, and then jump on its neck again. And when I got to that last part, I'm just like, why do we add this extra step? Because, like, in the cutscene, you can clearly see the part where Aloy could climb all the way to the top on its neck, and just, because it was a cutscene, the cutscene, like, kicks you out and puts you back to it. I'm just like, why couldn't you just let me start climbing up on it in the water? That would still be cool. I don't know why we designed these extra steps. Not all of them are bad, but some of them definitely, like I said, I feel like they grated on me a little, and this is where I came to my conclusion about how the game doesn't want you to power through it. Well, it wants you to savor the flavor.
I think it, like, I think they want you, like, I think the way I want to say this is it wants you to stay busy. It doesn't necessarily just want you to, despite the game kind of wanting you to, it doesn't necessarily want you to power through everything. It wants you to take a moment in the area. Like, it's unusual. I think it's like an unusual thing, like talking about like how the writing is different, because like on the one hand, we talked about this, right? Like, Aloy has such a huge sense of urgency. She's like, I've got to fix the planet. We're all gonna die in like 3 months. Get the fuck out of my way. But also, it's like a meme, right? Aloy, out of my way. I gotta fix the planet. Stop blocking me. Get out of my way. Also, Aloy, hey, so I see that you're kneeling down on the ground here and you're talking about having a problem. Can I help you with that today? Like. It's almost like comical at times of like, if you do one quest that's like a story quest, like Aloy's all like angsty about saving the world, and then I'm trying to remember, it was one quest where just like you just walk into a couple of guys talking about shooting the shit like on a dockside about something, and you're just like, hey, I couldn't help but over here you're having a problem. Actually, no, I think the best example of this is there's just a couple of Tanakh in a flower field, like a granny and her granddaughter or daughter or something are just like, and her granny's just like complaining about shit. You just roll up and you're like, hey, I couldn't help but overhear you guys kvetching in the middle of this flower field. What's up? And then she tells you this whole tragic story about how she wants the scarlet stems, and you know she used to hang out with the Nutaru guy and blah blah blah. And you're like, okay, I'll go pick the flowers for you. And she's like, cool. Can you take us to this dye maker in Plainsong? Cool. And then you find out blah blah blah, and then you go on, and then like, oh shit. I wasn't paying attention. It turns into a whole sad thing where, like, it turns out the dime baker is dead and you lay the flowers on his grave and whatever. But, like, it's an interesting contrast. I guess it's like you said, like, they want you to feel busy. And, like, a lot of times I think that's on point, but other times it feels like it is busy work, if that makes sense. Oh, yeah, no, definitely. Like, again, like, this... Horizon has a lot of stuff. Oops. Nope. Has a lot of stuff going on, and it's very overwhelming. God damn it. It's very. God damn it. God damn it. It's very overwhelming at times. Like.
Much like how Chaos is overwhelming you with his flaming sword right now.
Now, this is Chaos Advent.
Oh god, he's already got subtitles. We're fucked. Place your bets now. How many different Chaoses will we have to kill?
Punch! And then just fist.
Like men, we shall punch. If Jack Garland actually turns into Chaos, clearly something has gone on, because I've noticed that he's like a head taller than you.
It could be the boots.
They are pretty big boots. But yes, so Horizon has, like you said, a lot of shit. Like I think even if you think about like the job system, right? Like that's really cool and I love it. But also, it's like, damn, you end up making a lot of jobs, right? Like you track a lot of different places you have to go for a lot of different shit, and you need a lot of shit. Like, the gear tier I'm on is, like, asking for so many fucking Slitherfang grinders, and I'm just like, okay, I know they got, like, 3 of them in there, but, like, damn, this is a lot. How many Slitherfangs am I supposed to be farming? A lot. The answer is a lot, I think. Maybe? I think. That's another thing, is, like, I don't always get the sense that, like, I don't know whether or not Horizon intends for me to be playing the game the way I'm playing it, right? Like, they got a lot of different options, and they got a lot of different coolness in the trees. God knows the weapons give you so many options that I think some of them are superfluous, but they exist, right? Like, like we talked about targeting arrows, I think, last week, and it's just like, okay, I kind of get what you're going for with, like, yeah, you can set, like, aggressive AI, and you can get, you know, really dangerous machine mounts and really buff them, but also you can't really, other than your mount, you can't really make permanent followers either, so, nope. Like, is it really worth it to go through all that bullshit and carry special arrows so that you can temporarily turn, like, a Thunderjaw into an ally only to have to beat it up later anyway? Like, I don't know. And also, I think the override thing is like, why? Why, though? Are you afraid of me having a giant T-Rex following me around? Why? Is it because that would make the game less intimidating with all these giant robots who are constantly bullying me? Maybe I want that game. Maybe I want to feel like I get to bully the robots sometimes. And which eventually you do. Like, it's very interesting. Now that I've gotten later in the game, I do think the gear curve actually, like, evens out, right?
A little bit.
Like, once you start getting purple gear consistently and you get to your legendary gear, like, it is actually really good, but it feels strange. Like, technically, if you just power through the main plot, and other than, like, possibly being leveling, you can get access to some very high-tier shit, and then you can go back and do older quests, and I feel like that's not what the game wants you to do. Like, I have an anecdote. I ended up going back to Plainsong, I think, for, like, Zoe's side quest, and then I realized there were some other quests I hadn't seen before in town, right? Just through story progression or whatever, and I went and go did them, and, like, one of them was like, oh my god, these Utara hunters have been killed by a scary claw strider. And you go through all the thing, and you do the usual thing where you, like, do tracks, you recover all their seed pouches, whatever. You wander up and down the area, which is pretty typical for Horizon, and I think is, like, on point, right? Because it does this kind of, like, slow, investigating, environmental feel. And then you find the last guy, you kill some burrowers or glinthawks or something stalking him, and you get him free, and he's like, all right, but we've got to watch out. That Claw Strider's almost here. Oh, no. And then one single Apex Claw Strider comes out, and I just dropped him with a brace shot and then just a full overdraw shot for my precision bow, and I was like, yep, okay. Like, I don't really feel, like, disappointed, because I feel like Horizon has almost, like, beat me down with these giant machines that, like, when the fight was actually over in, like, 2 shots, I was like, woo! Thank God. Over level. Woo! For once. But, like, that's not the vibe they were going for, right? Like, the writing was like, this single Claw Strider is terrifying, and then I just, like, shot it twice with arrows, and I'm like, we okay? Everybody fine? Cool. And then that guy gave me my adhesive blast thing, and I was like, ah, slick, this is where I find this. Which I think does kind of go back to some of the stuff you talked about with gear and ammo and stuff, is like, the way the game gives you weapons is very all over the place, right?
Right.
Like, some of the good shit you can buy. You got to go to, like, later towns, and they just inexplicably have better bows for some reason, but whatever. They're cool. You can get some relatively early. I think you can actually get access to some really cool shit through the arena. Like, I also bought the Thunder Warrior armor because it's, you know, like, got all the really good perks for range combat.
I hate the arena, though, by the way.
Really?
Well, I hated the, well, because, like, remember, I started off on, like, I forget, did you tweak any of the difficulty at all?
I lowered enemy, I went to custom and I lowered enemy health to easy, just because I felt like, personally, enemies were soaking up too many hits.
Yeah. So normally, like I said, I was able to finish it, like, normally throughout the way, but I realized that I really don't like it when a game takes away the options for my setup that I've already have. So
yes, I can see what you mean. That's some of the, I think it's a lot of the final rounds of the arena give you fixed sets.
And I hate that. I'm like, don't, like, I have spent all this time figuring out a system that I enjoy, like using, and for me to get this gear, which I can't get anywhere else, I have to completely throw that out the window. And I'm just like,
yeah, and like obviously I get what they're going for, right? Like, oh, it's supposed to be a challenge. You have to make do with this specialized gear with like these elemental weaknesses. By the way, dear Gorilla, when you make 3, get rid of that shit on armor. Don't do that. The game is already tough. Like, at normal, I think the game is already tough enough. And there's like 2 extra difficulty levels, guys. I joked about this on WhatsApp. Like, literally the only thing keeping Horizon from being a full-blown, like, try-hard Soulsborne is the fact that there's no, like, iterative, like, looping mechanic, right?
Right.
And also probably the builds aren't quite diverse enough to be, like, true Soulsborne, like, wacky build technology levels. But, like, if they just put, like, a pure leveling mechanic where you spent metal shards, and if Aloy had some excuse to keep coming back to life and, like, looping your gear or whatever, it would just be a Soulsborne. Like, the game really is that tough in places, and honestly, almost that, like, demanding. Like, we've both talked about this. Like, fighting giant robots is tough because, like, if they touch you at all, you are off your rhythm. You can't do what you want to do, right? Like, you're getting stunned or set on fire, or you get set on plasma and explode, or you get knocked down and then you get hit again, and, like, it's supposed to be very, like, chaotic, violent, and you're supposed to, like, do prep time and plan for all that stuff. But, you know, when the game fucking throws guys at you out of nowhere, you can't always be prepped, right?
Right.
Like, literally, I did a side quest for the desert chief. Like, I go in and he's like, oh, I got all these new problems, you know, like, there's a missing child. Where is he at? And you go down, you crouch down this missing kid, and then a Thunderdraw shows up.
Oh, yeah, I remember this one.
And then you get halfway through the Thunderdraw showing up, and then a fucking Stormbird shows up. Now, luckily, this is honestly, I would say this is a bad thing for the way Horizon is programmed sometimes, but for me, it was lucky. Luckily, the Stormbird just, like, lost line of sight of me and fucked off to the sky, right?
Right.
Like, so I was able to kill the Thunderjaw, and then, though, I had this problem of, like, now where the fuck did this Stormbird go? Like, I'm literally wandering around in the circle because this fucking asshole giant eagle can't see me, and I can't see him. So I spent, like, at least, like, a minute solid just wandering around until he finally flew low enough. I was like, ah, there he is. And then I gotta fight a flying enemy because, God, flying enemies are bad in this game. They were bad in the first one. They're still bad in this. They have not quite put that in a fun level, I think. Like, dealing with flying guys.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, it's like, when you're doing that kind of, like, bamboozlement where, like, a Thunderjaw shows up, and then his friend shows up, and it's like, must we? Also, must we? Must we spam bot? Be gone. I put you in timeout.
Actually, do we hang on, let me go on YouTube. Banning.
Yeah, let's look up if there's a way we can, like, ban somebody from our chat or something. Because timeout is not working. The robot is here, and it is not leaving. I mean, I think I'll say that, Axe. I think I kind of agree. Like, I think some FromSoft games are actually difficult. Like, they do actually require you to practice, but that's part of the ethos. Like, they are a difficulty that is meant to be overcome. What the real thing is about a lot of Soulsborne games is they are demanding. Like, the reason why I haven't beat Bloodborne, even though I kind of like Bloodborne, is because Bloodborne demands my time and attention to, like, get good and focus on it, which is not always what I want in a video game, and it's kind of stressful, and I want to move on. Like, honestly, to vamp a little while Lucky's looking, like, I'm actually kind of getting the vibe from, like, what all these people are putting out. Like, everybody's saying, like, Elden Ring is, like, the most accessible. It's really interesting with the open world. Everybody's really jazzed about, like, the character designs. I'm like, man, I'm kind of getting the peer pressure itch. I kind of want to try this game. I wish we did demos, honestly. Like, I should have probably done the network test, I guess. But, like, I wish I could, like, free trial the game to see if I really do like it. Because I'm not going to go out and buy it right now. Actually mentioned this earlier. He was going to wait for some patches and get it on sale. I presume because you don't have a PS5. But I'm still also, like, I don't want to buy it, like, day one price. But, like, I got to watch on it. I got my Honey browser extension watching for a price drop. If that game drops to, like, 30 or 20 bucks, I might check out Elden Ring. Because I will say, I've been burned before. Our buddy Ron really tried to sell me on Demon Souls, and I paid, like, full price for that game. And then I did not like it. I did not beat it. And I actually, like, traded it into GameStop for, like, a fifth of the value. I traded that and, like, a half a dozen other games for a credit on a pre-order of Deus Ex, which was a much better game for me at the time. Deus Ex Human Revolution was much more impactful, right? But yeah, like, I mean, you've always been able to cheese out, but I think the thing that sounds interesting about Elden Ring for being accessible is because it is open world, if you hit a part you don't want to do or can't do right now, you can just fuck off to some other part, right? You can literally just leave and go do other things. And that's kind of like I said, where I'm like, I'm kind of feeling the interest. Like, it might be something I want to play, because like I've played FromSoft games before. I'm okay at them. It's just about the demanding level, right?
I'm all about getting them hugs for debuffs.
Yeah. No, like I said, I think there's some really interesting things that is in this game that like is really resonating with the audience, right?
Oh,
like
yeah.
a game just doesn't get a 90 on Metacritic for no fucking. So I'm like, I'm interested in this game. I will maybe watch some gameplay of it. I really do wish there was like a demo. Like, I'd love to put this game in my hands and just actually try it to see if I like the feel. But I'll just wait for it to go on sale, and then I'll try it, and I'll probably be okay with it. I've paid more money for worse stuff.
I mean, that's how I'm feeling right now. I want to get Elden Ring, but I'm gonna wait till this fucking hype downs down and everyone stops shutting and everyone shuts up about it.
Yeah, like, the hype has me interested, but also I'm like, but I'm not, like, full train here. I'm not gonna just jump in naked, because what if I don't like it because I've been burned in the past? No, I mean, like I said, I want to watch some gameplay videos, but that's still... There's something that, for an action game like this, right, there's something, like, you gotta feel it for yourself. Like, I'm watching Lucky play, like you know, Stranger of Paradise, right? It looks cool. It looks rad. I like, think to myself, like, no, I need to go home and... Well, I'm already home. I'm literally in my home office recording this, but you know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna, like, turn this off. I'm gonna run the audio, and I'm gonna be like, I should check out this demo. I want to actually play this for myself to see if the action does vibe with me. Because, like, I haven't actually, speaking about the games this, like, draws from, I actually haven't played a lot of those two Ninja games. Like, I never played Ninja Gaiden as a wee lad. I didn't get into Nioh because it, like, seemed cool, but also was, like I said, the unfortunate thing about, like, Soulsborne fans, Souls heads, or whatever you want to call them, Souls,
Masochists.
from Souls, masochists, yes, is, like I said, they really... talk up how, like, ooh, these games are so hard and gritty, I love it, and, like, that turns me off. Like, I'm not necessarily casual, but at the same time, it's like, when you go into this talking about how hard this is, I'm like, I don't really want that, like, and to be fair, we've talked about this, those Soulsborne games are literally made by a masochist for masochists. But, like, people also... genuinely, well, that is the thing that, like, FromSoft is marketing on X. Like, that is the actual appeal, is to do overcoming adversity. The problem is that, like, the steps to overcoming that adversity. But, like, so many people are really hype about, like, the Elden Ring is, you know, open world. It is accessible. There's allegedly a lot of really interesting build options. They've got a stronger boss support mechanic and all these summoning systems, right? So you can actually, like, play the game without, like, doing multiplayer shenanigans. So, like, it seems interesting, but like I said, I've been burned before. I'm not going to jump right in. Now, if you guys want to start donating a shitload of money to the YouTube channel and up my budget, I might be considered paying full price for it. That would not be like a Monday stream, by the way. Maybe like on a Thursday for funds, I would stream Elden Ring to see what it's like. But yeah, it's just... It's just like something I've been percolating on.
All right,
Oh. Sorry, I just checked my email because I was like, oh yeah, we had that thing with the Frank Sinatra. Did YouTube, like, yell at me about that yet? If they're going to yell, they probably won't yell until it's over, but...
I don't know, Axe. I think you're a masochist.
Well, yeah, they added several Master Duel solos. That will probably mean another Master Duel stream upcoming this week, maybe. I do have to deal with Spring Forward. I warned people on Let's Talk. You're going to have a lot of, like, weird Sleepy Omega, because I'm going to try and not be a piece of shit and, like, only exist at 4 p.m., right? Like, that's too late. I need to, like, function with other humans who are alive. So, yeah, but it's just... I'm sorry, I just opened up my, like, I have the Honey browser extension. It's because it is free and it like looks for codes and it almost never does anything. But what it does track is pricing on stuff. And I got an email about them about apparently Dell has an exclusive offer for like $11 cash back on Pokemon Legends Arceus, and I'm like, really? Dell? I don't think I'm into that, by the way. And also, Funimation sent me a Crunchyroll email.
Oh yeah.
About award-winning anime. Thanks, guys.
I probably shouldn't have tried to do that at the same time, but that's how life is.
But yeah, so like I thought the arena. I kind of think the arena is okay because I do actually like that they like give you time to actually stop and assess the threat right before you jump in. Thank goodness. But I see what you're saying about because I've only done like half of them for like just enough medals to get the Thunder Warrior armor. I see what you're saying. Like I can imagine those harder difficulties with those very specific gear sets being kind of frustrating because like. Horizon is a game where you do have to kind of build your own rhythm. You have to figure out how you want to play it, right? This is what I'm saying about, like, this game is literally, like, a couple of tweaks from being just straight up a Soulsborne game. Like I said, if it was more roguelike and iterative, you would just... It would be like that. Like... And I guess if the machines were less iterative, like, that's probably a thing, is the bosses aren't really unique. Like, every machine is mass-produced.
Yeah.
Is probably one thing. But, like... There are so many machines who are basically boss fights, right? Like, you have to learn, like, okay, it's a Thunderjaw. What do I do? Well, I want to knock off his fucking launchers first, because those suck, and then I probably want to knock off his space guns. And if I'm trying to harvest them, I want to knock off his tail. And then I gotta, like, look for the weak points, etc. And, like, really, once you familiarize yourself with your weapons and your strategies, right?
Oh, we got it.
By Chaos again.
Oh, punch Chaos!
I'm gonna punch Chaos.
Oh! Punch! Oh, this is pretty shit. Yeah! I punched Chaos.
Bonk.
I gave him the bonk.
Yeah, that was a weird animation. You gave him the bonks, though. Actually, for some reason, that's right, I forgot. We're still in top chat. But somehow that spam bot comes through in top chat YouTube. I don't think it's true. But no, like in Horizon, when you familiarize yourself with your weapons and your abilities, right? That's how you actually, like, get in and do stuff good.
It's a girl!
Well, that's why it was Chaos Advent. So this is our fourth PC, I think. Or fourth member of the team. I don't know if you actually play as anybody other than Jack. But we got our weird Dark Crit. This is probably going to make that whole thing where Jack Garland probably becomes Chaos make more sense, I think. If Chaos is just, like, a force that does stuff. And we got to have our token girl. She's dressed in a school uniform for some reason. Also, where was she holding that crystal? It's like the size of an ostrich egg. This game is so weird, guys, but I love it.
She has fucking Kaine bandages on her legs. For no reason!
Yeah, the bandage thing is definitely like, that's one of them weird Japanese. But yeah, no, like, so, like with Horizon, right, like, I finally got my adhesive blast sling, and I'm like, I love this, much like the blast thing from the first game. I'm like, okay. So big machines, lock them down with adhesive that makes them slow so you can actually, like, maneuver around them, because goddamn are these machines wiggly. And I gotta be honest, Lucky, I still don't know if I think I don't own a rope caster. The game has never given me one, and I've never stopped to buy one. It's really weird.
You have to buy them, I think. I think I've seen, there's only like 3 or 4 in the game. 2 of them are like canister ones. Yeah. No, one's a canister one, then there's the regular rope caster, the elite rope caster. Then there's like something like the storm something rope caster.
Yeah, but it's like, it's really weird because I feel like for you especially, you made that a cornerstone of your strategy, right? Rope cast. And it does kind of seem like weapon skills, like
I do love we still just do that, just fucking bullshit. Play music. Leave.
God, this is just this game. Pull out his fucking smartphone, play a clip. Bullshit.
Ah, I love it.
Alexa, play My Way by Frank Sinatra. Hopefully anybody's Alexa didn't catch that because I gravelied up my voice. But like, you know, my strategy is usually, like, if it's a big machine, like I said, like apply adhesive, get them to slow down, and then focus on like canisters or weapons, and then, you know, get in there. If they're lighter machines, it's like, I'm at a point where like a full drawback overdraw on a precision bow right to the big glowy fuck me light usually does a machine in or makes it weak enough that I can like tap them. And Silent Strike works for a lot of the lighter machines as well. Gotta put our fist in.
Yep. Instant friendship.
So, yeah. We are now friends forever. At least until we all become chaos. Fight each other. But so like Horizon is really keen on that developing your own strategy thing, and sometimes it works, and sometimes I think it's a little clunky. And like I said, I had to tune down enemies' HP slightly because it was just like some of those machines are just too chunky. They just take too long, and I'm like, I don't really want to get in endurance fights with these machines all the time because there's machines all the time.
No,
and like I said, I really hope for a third game, Gorilla, if you're listening. And I know you got like an 80 on Metacritic, but you didn't get a 90 like Elden Ring, so you've got room for improvement.
Oh, oof.
That's okay. That's a joke. But I actually kind of hope they either need to go like full-blown customization, like you keep saying they need to like, you just straight up forget buying new weapons, just let me craft the weapon with the ammo I want and the traits I want. Like they need to either go full hog there, or they really need to like slim this down. Like, there's no reason for some of this shit to exist.
Like, I kept thinking about it, like, they really, like, because here's the thing, a lot of the bows and weapons have, like, even aside from, like, the slots and the ammo types, they actually have, like, additional other bonuses, like,
yeah,
like
they got straight up perks.
Like, fucking, like, agility damage, you do more damage while moving, stealth damage, more damage with stealth. You know, flying damage, do more, and defying things. I'm like, but some of these bows, they get those things like the fucking, I remember getting the Ataru Whisperer's bow. It has the stealth damage. It's a green bow. It has like 2 fucking arrows on it, and they're not good, like, you know, they're not the good arrows. I'm just like, well.
And if some of those effects are on coils, right, you can apply those to later stuff because, like, purple and gold shit have a lot of coil slots.
Oh, yeah.
But you still need to have the coils, and the coils are fucking... Those are level scaled and all that stuff, so you need good ones, and your old ones become shit. It's like, the game just has a really weird inventory curve, and it kind of works out at the end, but it's still like, it's kind of bullshit because you get gear you like, and then you can't do anything with it. Even if you upgrade it all 5 times, it will not be as cool as like if you find like an infiltrator armor you really like that's like green, it's gonna become shit.
Are you really trying to call me out here? Oh, yes, thank you. Thank you, Jack, for giving that man the stink eye.
It's a great expression. I do love that, like, it really shouldn't be, but when you get to Ted Pharaoh's tomb and you get Sobek's raiment, it's like a fucking purple armor.
God. Again, that whole section is just something creepy. Like,
it's weird. I mean, I don't like it, but I don't dislike it, right? Like, it's not meant to be fun, but it's like, it's not like unenjoyable. Like, it's not like a terror to play. There's even a fucking like some Indiana Jones ass like mummy type shit where the tomb collapses at the end and it gets filled with lava. I don't know if that's how that would work, but whatever. Like, I'm pretty sure you can't have an open lava seam underwater that big because the water does the cooling.
Well, I do know we do have
underwater. This is a different spam machine. This one is Girls Here streamer recommends.
Oh god, because I blocked the other one. I think we've just been infected, my dude.
I will report them. I will hide user on this channel. I will put them in time.
Because I actually looked it up. There was actually 2 different ones. Like, I think every time we fucking block it, like, another one just comes in.
Yeah, there's probably a fucking server somewhere that's on a rotation that realizes if it's blocked, it just goes back to its mission. Whatever. We'll just keep kicking them and blocking them. At least until YouTube realizes that naked-HD is a problem and it just doesn't let you have that in your username. It reminds me, like, it's so funny that, like, YouTube is of no help at all here. Well, okay, the timeout is of okay help because it just cleanses all their messages and puts them timeout. That's decent, right? I wish it was permanent timeout, though.
Yeah.
Not for 300 seconds. Timeout forever. But, like, for the most part, YouTube's tools are fairly limited. But, like, I realized today, I was double-checking comments on the new video. I realized YouTube was like, by the way, you've got to, like, I just was in the thing for, because we've actually gotten some spam comments, but I like, got in the section and checked, and it was, like, one of them was, like, held for, I saw a held for review comment that was, like, potentially inappropriate, and YouTube was like, YouTube gave me no fanfare. It didn't be like, hey, you've got a potentially inappropriate comment to check. It's like, it's just sitting there when I check held comments, and then I click it, and it's like, are you sure it might be offensive? It's just one of our community members just being like on last week's episode being like, that face, or maybe even it was 2 weeks ago, that face when no girlfriend to suck your life out or something, and I'm like, really, YouTube? That was potentially offensive? My videos are not for children. But yeah, it's a funny one.
Go forth, warriors of life. You are this realm's hope. Yeah, say the line.
There's gonna be a lot of time getting it. But yeah, so Horizon, like, it's so weird with the gear progression, and it's so fiddly. Like I said, like, I have so many jobs open because you've got like 6 weapon slots, and it's just, I get the different weapons are cool, but like, so many of these weapons are so unnecessary, right? Why do I need both the Shredder Gauntlet and the Spear Thrower?
Well, again, I don't necessarily think, again, this is the thing I say, having different weapon times isn't necessarily a problem, because I've heard, like, some people really do like the spike throwers and the Shredder Gauntlets, but...
I mean, I use the spike thrower a lot as one of my big hitter weapons, because it's effective. It's just, like, mechanically, you know?
Yeah. And, like, again, I enjoy the mechanic of them, especially when you start adding things like the fucking weapon techniques and stuff. But, again, it's just one of those things of, like, I need specific weapons with specific things so I can do, you know, specific actions. Like, this is like I mained the hunter bow like most of the game. Like, that was my go-to weapon. I used just advanced arrows. I did, since I had the Thunder Warrior weapon, the Thunder Warrior armor, like, I was really good at concentration, so I could take my time, shoot off a bunch of parts. That's what I put on the coils that I did, like, tear damage and component removal, so I can just, like, shoot something a few times, it goes flying off, you know? And
it really does make a difference, right? Like, I remember watching you do some of your gameplay, like, last week, and, like, I tried to do similar things, and I'm not, because I didn't have quite the same gear setup, I'm not hitting the same level.
Yeah.
But I found my own solutions. I actually am big on the precision bow, because I do have a slight... So, I don't like to, like, complain about the realism in Horizon. I like to say, bring up funny stuff sometimes with, like, how some of the stuff wouldn't really work, and, like how some of the sliding crate puzzles are kind of funny because Aloy has to slide crates in a very specific way, which is not necessarily like how it is physically. It's not like a huge detractor, it's just kind of funny sometimes, but like...
Thanks, Innkeeper.
I have some complaints about bows. It's been a few years, but I have fired a bow before, and I'm pretty sure I was more accurate at the range with using equivalent technology to what Aloy has in warrior bows and hunter bows than she is. Warrior bows especially like have big circles and big fade off, and I'm like, that's not how bows work. I know it's supposed to be short range, but like, I don't like that I have to bust out my precision bow and use those tiny ass quivers to like hunt crabs and other small creatures from a decent enough way away, because I cannot trust my other bows to hit accurately, right?
Again, I think I'm just more used to hunter bow, but I never had that problem. I could do snapshots with my hunter bow and hit things.
I mean, if you get it aimed right, you can, and if you activate
concentration.
Yeah, concentration, that does also really tighten up. It's just like, I just kind of want to like get some cleaner shots in, and you may have done decently. Like, sometimes with the hunter bow I have decent luck, but there were still times where I thought I was making a reasonable shot on like a crab or a lobster, and I say that because birds and like crabs and stuff you have to do from a distant away.
Yeah.
And I was still like, I would like miss its hitbox by like an inch and just be like, And like I said, the warrior bow is just awful.
The warrior bow is awful. You don't use the warrior for anything except like close range combat. Like that's.
And I would argue, don't even bother in normal arrows. Invest in the ones that have like 3 elements and the spread shot.
Yeah.
If you get that weapon technique, that's good for just causing elemental burst effects,
Yes.
right? Like
That's what. Yeah. Like you say, Axe. It's like supposed to be a shotgun, but you don't fire 3. You don't fire 3 to start with.
But you can unlock a skill that lets you snapshot 3, and if you do that with elemental damage, it works really good. You will elemental damage the enemies. Whereas, like, with, like, my precision bow, I don't fuck with any of that. I have, my current one is purple. I think it's the Delta one. It has precision arrows, advanced precision arrows, which are just better than the regular precision arrows and have the same ammo count. I don't, whatever. But then I have strike through arrows, which have much better armor penetration and, that's a good shot.
That is a good shot. I'm gonna screenshot that.
Power shot. But the breakthrough arrows have really good armor penetration and tear. So that's like, okay, if this enemy is spicy or if it has like big parts I want to block off, I can do that. My hunter bow is, I think, currently is it the icy one? I'm carrying like 2, and I don't even know which one I got. I think it's the one that's got like frost arrows and then like regular arrows and then advanced frost arrows. I'm interested in some more advanced stuff. And like we said, I like a lot of the idea and some of the techniques.
Oh man, I'm not wasting any time with the travel. I just go from A to B.
Yeah, that's definitely kind of interesting because FF1 obviously, right, like had the big overworld map and stuff. But this game doesn't really work with overland travel. And these guys are really freaked out by you.
Look at my sick armor. It's the mask.
Yeah. Are they fucking throwing rocks? What the fuck? What is this guy's problem? Yes. Also, no. If you haven't played FF1 in a while, no, your literal Garland is literally the first boss. He like kidnaps the princess, and you got to go to a nearby dungeon and punch him. Like that's literally why Cornelia, I guess apparently is the more correct translation.
I wonder if this
has assembled the Warriors of Light.
I wonder if this is this. Like, I think what everyone's saying is this is the story of fucking Jack becoming the final boss Garland, not being the first boss Garland.
Yeah, it's kind of like a perspective flip. Because, like, that is the thing I mentioned earlier, is that Garland then, like, through, like, time loop shenanigans and the old magics or whatever, becomes the chaos you fight at the end. He, like, gets access to all the elemental powers and, like, gets hundreds of years of experience or something. It's a little sketchy. I don't remember it very well. It's been a long, long time to play a Final Fantasy. But like it's a weird dovetail thing where like or Ouroboros thing where like the first boss becomes the last boss. He also was grinding. Yeah, I don't know where. There's gonna be a time loop in this because there is a time loop in Final Fantasy 1. There's gotta be a time loop in this, but I don't know where it is. So we'll see.
Oh, I can only take 2. Okay.
But yeah, the nature of Horizon is very fiddly, and like you have to find your own rhythm. Like the game will beat your ass if you don't know what you're doing, but it doesn't necessarily like have it. Well, at least I think most of the time it doesn't necessarily have a specific thing it wants you to be doing. Like they give you so many options. I assume most of them have to be like of equal weight. I mean, I think there are obviously some kind of builds that like you can't do as your main thing. Like they got a lot of perks for like heavy weapons and stuff, right? Like you can't do a heavy weapon build, right? Because you can't reload them, and not every enemy you find has a heavy weapon you can shoot off. So like that can't be your primary thing, but certainly you could go heavy on heavy weapons, and then that's how you respond to like human bosses or big machine bosses. You shoot off their detachable heavy weapons and turn them against them.
Mm-hmm.
Which I do anyway. It's just not where I focused my points. I focused on stealth because usually that's somehow the least stressful way of dealing with machines. I had to turn off, though, the context-sensitive tooltips, though. I just felt like they were very snarky to me. Like, every time I would land a stealth strike that didn't kill a guy, I would get a tooltip like, improve your silent strike level to have a better chance of killing enemies more reliably. And I'm like, damn it, game, don't be smug at me. You know that I can only take that perk like twice, and then I have to like find specific gear that levels it up. You can find armors that give you more Silent Strike, both as a coil or a weave, I should say, and as like an inherent perk. But again, it's like really finicky. You got to track down this stuff. So like, and it's just like, or like every time you fight a flying enemy, it's like build vertical electric traps to hit flying enemies, and I'm like, game, is that really my only solution here? Apparently no. Like you brought up, there are perks you can and stuff you can put on weapons to improve anti-flying damage. And some of that might be just the coding. Like I remember that they talked about in like the first patch they did like a couple days after the game came out. They made it so that Aloy doesn't mention her stash so much.
Oh yeah.
Because like when the game first launched, like every single time Aloy would put something in her stash, she would be like saving that for later. So they made that less frequent. I also think they moved where processed metal blocks are. Like they literally changed what inventory category they go into.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, they are not in valuables anymore. They're in a different spot. I thought I lost them, but no, they just like moved them so they're not in the spot where you just go to sell things.
Okay, good.
Yeah, because you're not. You get to trade those.
Yes.
For salvage. Which is very helpful. It's very good that there are so many alternate ways to get machine parts because getting machine parts is finicky as fuck. I need to find Apex Dread Wings.
See, Apex is weird because Apex don't actually have a spawn point. Apex's spawn, like, I actually had to look this up because I was curious, how do Apex work? Apex works by, you basically go to an area that has, like, the thing that you want, and you just kill a bunch of the machines, and eventually, when you come back, there'll just be Apex machines there, as Hephaestus is all like, my machines are dying here, I need to put some hunter killers out here.
Yeah. You gotta kill enough to upgrade them. Which is rough because there's gotta be a Dread. Oh, I don't even know. There's got to be a Batman spawn somewhere on the map. I don't know if I've seen the site. It's just there's so many machines. Sometimes it's hard to remember all the names. I got most of the old ones right, and I can remember a decent chunk of the new ones. But some of the names are just so similar. I'm like, I don't remember what this is. Like the Spinosaurus guys. I think that's like, is it like Spine Thresher, Spine Crusher?
I thought it was like Spine Terror.
Spine Terror? Yeah, it's just like, I don't remember that one. Now, you want me to remember Rollerback. That's good. I got that. Tide Ripper. No, I can follow that. But yeah, there's a lot of machine farming, and it's a little weird. But you get most of the stuff. And at the very least, once you know where the location is, like you said, like, I love that, like, I had an upgrade that was, like, needed, like, legendary tier green shine, whatever that is. I think it's a cluster. I don't know. And then the game just fucking dobs out where it is. It's like, yeah, on that mountain up there's some. And I'm like, sick. Cool. It's so weird, like I said. Like, it's the game is really helpful and really flexible, but also there's just so much shit. It really, I feel like it could use a little bit of a streamline. Like, maybe if the game, like, was more basic and then I could choose to make it more complex rather than the game just always being this level of complexity, right?
Right.
Like you said, I agree with you strongly. I think being able to actually, like, craft and customize your own gear, not just, like, the upgrades and the slots, but, like, actually, like, figure out what I wanted. And I think that would almost make the part salvaging make more sense, right?
Right.
Because, like, a lot of the part salvaging is just a fetch quest of a difficulty. Why do I need Slitherfang Earth Grinders, which are those big grindy things they have in their chest that are, like, about the size of Aloy's torso? Why do I need 4 of those to upgrade my armor? I don't know. You do. You just do. You must be this ballin' to kill these machines and upgrade this armor.
It literally is called a sailor dress!
We know what's up.
I can't even.
Hilarious.
I can't even.
I'm gonna go play this demo after I get some. But yeah, we've been yelling about Horizon for a while now. Do you have any other thoughts since you beat the game you want to get out on, like, a high level without necessarily going into, like, detailed spoilers? We'll come back for that next week, obviously, because another week I will be done with the game. I may even have platinumed it. Lucky you said it was an easy platinum.
Oh yeah, no.
And I have noticed there aren't, like, any, like, do new game plus or beat on hardest difficulty looking things. It's just like, yeah, just do stuff.
Okay, now she looks pretty sick. I don't care what EP says. Look at this shit. I love it. But for high level thoughts, give me a second here.
Sure. While Lucky is thinking, I will vamp about the weather.
Oh.
I want to say I feel like I'm currently winning the weird weather award. Like whenever I talk about how hot it is, like Loth or Dallas always goes like, psh. And then when I talk about how cold it is, like somebody from like Canada, like Robin or just other people in the north will be like, psh. But I still think the swing is the weirdest bit. So like, all throughout this week, I have been fucking hot. I've heard it has been like record highs. It's been like 80 degrees during the day. I think it was like 80 degrees during the day yesterday or a couple days ago, right? Like, it's been like fucking hot. I've had to like open my window. I've been sweaty. I've been humid. So today we are experiencing an unseasonable chill. It is currently it's only 9:30, but it is currently 47 degrees and dropping. We have a frost warning and a wind chill advisory, and I have been told that tomorrow morning it will be 28 degrees in March.
Jesus.
Yeah, so like it's the swing that's killing me. Like it goes from being like boiling hot. My PS5 is literally overheating. I need to get extra fans in here too. Like I need to put on my long johns and get under like 3 blankets tonight. Shit. I guess I'll just make some hot cocoa tonight. Damn. But yeah, like the weather swinging right now is crazy. But yeah, before I got into any DJ thoughts or anything, I wanted to see if Lucky had anything to say about Horizon.
Oh no, like I said, it's a good game. It's a good game, and it's a very dense game. I think this is the thing that bugs me a lot, is I had to do a lot of running around, like, when you have to, like, find specific parts, when you have to find specific parts for weapons, that's the thing. When you, like, but, like, here's the thing, when you know where to look, like, the game's pretty, like, if you have located a place, located a location, you will, like, the game will just take you there, and you just have to, you know, and you can just deal with it there. And a lot of the problem, like, well, combat, like, can start off very hard. Like, once you discovered your own, I would say Horizon is very good for letting you play your way and finding out your own best strategy to deal with things. Yeah. Like I'm talking about, like, I became a master of the hunter bow. I don't, like, ever do, like, direct damage, but I'm very good at, you know, using concentration to just pick off all the parts until they are, you know, come down. And if they're still being little assholes, you know, I rope caster them down and be like, no, now I will, like, give you the stabbing.
Yeah, whereas my strategy is, like, I'm big on the precision bow. I engage from, like, maximum range stealth and hit weak points, and then it's, like, usually you blow off all their stuff, like overpen, and then you're like, if there's anything left when they get up close, I just boop their snoot.
Boop it into the snooping.
And then if they're, like, a really tough enemy, like I said, I use, like, spear throwers and, like, the blast sling to just be like, well, Mr. T-Rex, I've shot off all your annoying weapons, so now I'm just gonna I'm gonna throw/chuck high explosive spears at you until you go away. Please stop. And it usually works. Combat is still pretty chaotic, but yeah, I think this is my own opinion so far based on where I'm at. I haven't finished the game, but I want to say this again because Lucky's finished and I want to see how he feels about this. I feel like overall, I think the game is like, maybe like to me so far is like a 7 out of 10, like a C+, definite C+. Like it's pretty good. It's above average. I feel like it's got a little bit of a low, but like story-wise, I feel like world building, like that's like a 9 or a 10. Like the atmosphere and the storytelling of this game is very good, but the gameplay is just a little too busy for me. Most of the time, like it's fun, but there's still so much shit to keep track of.
I guess that is fair. Like, if they had tightened up, like, honestly, I think a lot of it would have been solved. Like, again, this is why I keep harping on it. A lot of it would have been solved if they had just, if they had just tightened, like, actually done, like, a crafting system to do that. Because then you wouldn't be so necessarily worried about running around for every little thing, for every little, like, upgrade. Because that's the thing about, like, upgrading the bows and whatnot. Once you get a new bow, you have to upgrade it from scratch again. That means you have to go right back out. Even if you're only, like, really changing maybe a few, like, an ammo type.
But you feel compelled, right? Because even if you've upgraded your bow all the way, like, they don't compare to this new bow you got. Which, again, the game throws free weapons at you like crazy. It's really interesting. I see what they're going for, but it's weird sometimes. Like, I'll just discover I've picked up a new, like, bolt caster, and I'm like, when the fuck did I get this? Who gave this to me? This doesn't mean anything to me. Where did this come from? And then I look at it, and if it has stats that I like, I'll switch. But otherwise, I'm like, nah, I'm fine. It's just... they need to, like, streamline the inventory process a little bit, I think, somewhere. Whether that's actually, like, making less stuff or just making it so you can craft your own stuff. There's a little bit of streamlining in there, but otherwise, it's a pretty fun game so far.
Yeah.
But all right, we can talk about some other things. I will say I have not currently put in any Horizon today because I was distracted by looking at reading an interesting internet thing. Here, I will. I'll drop this off to Lucky if it'll let me on channel. But so I found this thing online called Tales from the Dealership. It is just a PDF compilation of green text stories from people working at used car lots.
Really?
I'm like 54 pages in, and it's fascinating because like sometimes it's the stories about asshole customers, but also just as much as stories about poor people being fucked over by other dealerships, and it's just like it's got some fascinating like real life vibes. I will warn people, if you look this up, a lot of these stories are taken from 4chan, so you may or may not find some of the language palatable. I don't think it's like really bad, like they're not throwing out slurs everywhere, but there's just a couple of things where I'm like, I feel like I should warn people. Some people are sensitive to this stuff. I think it's just kind of like entertaining, casual stories of just like things maybe you should know about the way cars work. Guess what? Lots of people are scumbags. Oh shit, I feel like I've seen this URL before, but let's put them in the box. Time out.
Let me see here.
So I've been reading this a lot of just like chewing through pages because it's very fascinating. They just keep going. A lot of people apparently take their tax rebates and immediately turn it into a down payment on a car.
Yeah, I can see that.
Possibly to their detriment.
No, definitely to their detriment.
There's a lot of like weird stuff with like because of like commissions and whatever. There's a lot of weird stuff with like sales and making numbers. Like there's a couple of stories about like ghost sales, where like the dealership says it sold you a car, but they didn't really sell you a car, and they're gonna make you think you already bought the car. So when they charge you more later, damn dude. Like most of the stories that are collated aren't from people being scumbags, but there's a lot of scumbaggery out there. And I feel like it's kind of a little bit like right now I'm treating it as like trying to get a grasp for some of this stuff because honestly, some of these vibes are important for a thing I am working on. Like. Definitely some of this energy I will probably want to bring in, and I will probably have a used car lot when I finish out design for my next Delta Green scenario. It's weird. I always talk about how like I have like niggling ideas, but I'm not sure where to go, and then usually by the time we get to the end-ish, because we should hopefully be finally finishing Rat's Nest.
Mm-hmm.
aka Operation Moonrat. I'm not like frustrated with the pace or anything. It's just you guys definitely, and I appreciate this because you're exploring all the material there is, and even sometimes exploring material that's not there. There have been a couple of times where people have asked questions, and I have to be just like, the handler does not know, so it's not important.
Thanks, Dallas.
And Howard's Dallas a lot, but there have been a couple of other like, yeah, I don't have that info. So I can give you a reasonable guess, but I can also let you, meta-wise, I can tell you it's not important because I don't know. Not in my... And like sometimes that, very rarely that's an oversight, but occasionally it is an oversight, and I'm like, oh, hold on, let me think about that. But a lot of times it's just like, no, that wasn't meant to be relevant. But like I feel like as we get towards the end, that's when the bug bites me. So the next one, which is going to be, I think, the thing I talked about where I had an idea for something related to a shopping mall. Mm-hmm. The scenario is fully titled The Mall of the Damned, but because technically Delta Green operations should have code names, I already figured out the one for that, which was Operation Starcourt. Vaguely ominous. I get why they're supposed to have operational names because it is more appropriate, but at the same time, it's like, as the game master, am I really gonna make up a name for the like operation ahead of time? Because like I don't necessarily know like what we're gonna buy on. Like I've said, canonically in universe, your first game operation, the first scenario, is known as Operation Bigfoot. Because you guys started joking about that in session later, and like it just flows better. Mm-hmm. If I had pre-named it that wouldn't make any sense. That would be like a little too tongue-in-cheek. But because you guys made the joke, it's the same with like Operation Moonrat. Like you guys talked about the Moonrat thing. And so, like, that just stuck. This one, I figured out what I wanted to call it ahead of time, but, like, not every operation will flow that way, right? And in reality, when, like, military or intelligence, they come up with, like, operation names, they're usually, like, they're randomized to obfuscate. That doesn't work when you're writing fiction, because it's like, if it's truly obfuscated or random, why even bother? It doesn't mean anything. But, and I think, like, Delta Green operate, like, pre-generated stories that have names. Usually those are done after we're done writing everything, but, so the author has, like, an idea, so, but I can't always have that. But anyway, Operation Starcourt will be set at, like, a mall. It's like, it used to be a dead mall, but then it gets refurbished, and now things are weird. So, like, I won't spoil any of the weirdness. We'll save that for, like, first reactions at the table. You guys can get into the weird stuff. But it's definitely got some vibes I'm going for. I can tell you it will be set in a fictional town in Ohio, slightly inspired by that. One, there's a very famous dead mall that I think there was, like, a documentary about somewhere in Ohio. But also, it reminds me of that joke that, like, turns out Elden Ring is just set in Ohio thing. And I'm like, that works. Ohio has the despair vibes I'm looking for. This fictional town of Plainville, Ohio will be, you know, maybe an hour or two's drive from Cleveland, you know, to give you the full despair vibes. The fact that the town is, like, economically shrinking and stuff and in trouble because offices are moving out of suburbs or office and corporate jobs were moving out of suburbs into the city. I think technically with COVID, they're, like, equalizing back out because of work from home. But as established, the pandemic did not happen in our current Delta Green scenario timeline because that would just give us way too much other bullshit to deal with. So it you know, fits the theme I'm going for. This is part of why I have been really obsessed with MallSoft lately. Mm-hmm. Now, if y'all don't know, this is where I get to actually put on my, like, weird music nerd hat. So MallSoft is a subgenre of vaporwave, which in itself is apparently officially called a microgenre. And also, I think technically vaporwave is, like, arguably a dead genre. Like, most of the famous vaporwave artists have moved on to technically other genres. I think greater, like, I guess you'd call it, like, retro synth or synthwave is technically the, like, greater movement that's still current. Mm-hmm. Like a return to, like, early 80s synth pop music is kind of where we're at. But MallSoft is a vaporwave subgenre that specifically is working off a lot of inspired by corporate lounge music, what would previously have been called muzak. So it has a lot of, like, R&B and smooth jazz vibes, a lot of, like, ambient music. A lot of the later stuff has specifically taken models from the 80s city pop movement in Japanese music, which is also very, like, 80s synth and ambient inspired. If you guys haven't ever listened to it, yes, not only does vaporwave and thus MallSoft have a very ethereal quality, but at times it almost has even, like, a slightly sinister quality. It's a very common, like, vaporwave and subgenre trope to use, like, slowed down vocals and samples, which sound very creepifying. But just in general, like, I don't know why exactly, but this style of music and, like, all these, like, MallSoft compilations I'm listening to really does give me vibes of, like, being in an elevator or, like, a hotel lobby or, like, in a mall or a department store, and just, like, back before you would just listen to pop music, you would have, like, cheap ass, you know, canned music that was, like, almost like it's almost like, you know, like, royalty free music, right? Mm-hmm. It also reminds me a lot of, like, not necessarily, like, the 90s, but I would say, like, the early 2000s, like, PS2 era of, like, PC and video game music. Because it's like, okay, we have, like, sound coding and we can put, it's, like, real full-bodied music in here. It's not like a chip tune, right, where it's, like, an audio chip. But at the same time, it's still, like, kind of corporate and cookie cutter, right? I don't know. It has interesting vibes for me. It might just be a way the music is done. almost everybody says like vaporwave and related genres makes them nostalgic for some reason. So I don't know if it's just how it sounds. But yeah, I've just been vibing to this a lot, and that's definitely kind of what I'm going for with this scenario we're working on. Like, I wouldn't say I was a mall rat. In my teens, I was not into shopping malls. I lived in rural parts of Florida a lot and distant suburbs. So I was not, like, able to, like, chill at shopping malls, you know. But when I was a youngin', you know, back when, you know, when you're that age where your parents can't leave you at home by yourself, I definitely did a lot of trips to the local mall. You know, like mom goes in and is like, "All right, you know, I need to go buy like some clothes or go shopping for something down at the mall. I can't leave you here. I'm just gonna drop you off at the mall and you find your own way." So I spent, you know, hours in my local shopping mall, doing what you do as a kid, perusing the GameStop, the EB games.
Oh, there is falling damage.
No, there is falling damage confirmed. Whoop.
Does not end you though.
Even though you definitely fell into a bottomless pit.
Yes.
I would, you know, go to like the Barnes and Noble, right? You would browse, you know, you would occasionally browse the toy store, or the like walk by a candy shop, you know. And when we would go to like big box retailers like a Walmart or a Kmart or something, like then you would, you know, comb the toy aisles or head over to the electronics department and like watch the TVs and play the demos.
That was my life.
Yeah, so like I had a lot of those vibes as a kid, and honestly, I bet a lot of young folk these days probably aren't because of the dead mall thing. Like through a combination of like oversaturation, the pivot to cheap big box stores, and internet selling becoming more popular. Like if you've never heard of it, dead malls are a thing. It's malls that have like so low patronage and such high vacancy that they might as well not exist. Some of them are straight up abandoned, like there are no stores operating in them. And like it's a really interesting vibe that's going to be part of the feel I'm going to try and capture here. There's going to be a lot of nostalgia, there's going to be a lot of like ennui, and like talking about like the existential despair of consumerism, and like how we thought everything was going to be cool in like the 90s and the early 2000s, and then like recession and war and like other bullshit. And there is like a lot of like urban decay and like suburban decay, right? Like there's shit out there going on. And that's going to kind of like tap into that, and then that kind of like the weird places that sends people, because obviously it's Delta Green, so it's going to get like metaphysical, y'all. I think this scenario is going to be even more esoteric and weird, like in my own style. But like there's going to be like probably some like weird kitschy references with a lot of like you know, it's going to be a mall, it's probably going to be weird. You're going to see stores, some of them will be references. Like for example, you might run into like the Pillar of Fitness place by Carla, who you know, and there's a poster in the door that says, "Try our desert wind workout. It'll turn you into the ultimate being." And you guys are going to have to ask yourself, okay, is this just like a weird reference, or are we going to actually have to fight Pillarmen? Because if you think about it, in Delta Green, Pillarmen are terrifying. Super vampires with supernatural powers. They're older than humanity. They're weird moon men. It's a whole thing. And like these kind of like weird vibes are what I'm going for. This kind of like, is this fiction? Is this real? What the fuck am I dealing with? I'm going to say right now, it's probably not going to be like outright, you know, like King in Yellow Carcosa shit, but definitely one of my inspirations for this was there is a very famous, like, what they call shotgun scenario, which is just, for a long time while Delta Green was kind of, like, slowed down before the revamp, there's, like, the Delta Green mailing list and stuff. There would just be these, like, short prompts that you would use as shotgun scenarios, and there were contests, like, stuff you could run as, like, one-shots or con games. One of them, very famously, is called Night Shift, and it's basically just like, yo, what if a shopping mall was bleeding into Carcosa? This is going to be kind of like that, but probably a lot more complex and a lot more of my own world building. But just like, I'm very excited to go weird places with this, but I have not really gone ham on it because I want to finish writing, and I did write the intro for, and I've got my setup in my brain for the tank-based scenario in Star Wars. We've been off Star Wars for over a month now, and I kind of want to like I said, you guys, the players, are still keen to play, so I don't want to just drop it. So I'm like, I know I'm committed. I want to make sure I write this part first, and it'll work out. And like, I still got my vibes. It's not really in my notes, but you know, the Kenobi trailer came out this week. And that was immediately like, yes, Star Wars vibes. I do some fucking notes from Battle of Heroes, and you're like, yes, Star Wars. Oh no, there will be some like esoteric like blend between like alien geometries, collective unconsciousness type shit. I feel like with the Delta Green scenarios, I'm getting more and more comfortable with both the rules and the like layering of the game that like I can up my not only can I up my complexity of scenario, I can up like my complexity of world building. Like that is kind of why Rat's Nest is taking a while, right? It's a very dense world build.
Very.
It is not arguably as dense as HPL can get. Like technically the origins of this current unnatural crisis only go back to like late Roman, early medieval period France, which is still like 1,000 years, but that is still peanuts compared to like lost continent Hyperborea shit you can get into, right?
Right. So
like this scenario is very dense, and you guys have been exploring that density. Like I've said several times, it's kind of interesting to see how I not consciously, but I did divide my like world building and my facts into like, these are just background facts. These are action items. This is something you can kind of take to yourself. But it all kind of works together to build this like greater story and sense of dread. Like, I think all of you guys as the players are in the place and the mood I want for this scenario, right?
Right.
Like, you keep digging and digging, and you're just like, that's not right. That's not right. That's really not right. Okay. As, like, once you get the okay level, that's, like, as you guys are, like, loading Dragon Breath rounds into the shotgun
I really
and
wish
making your own Molotov cocktails.
I was thinking about Dragon Breath rounds. I'm like, I don't know if we can wing that right now.
Well, the problem is there aren't rules for it, but you know me. I'd make something up. Axe did get a pump-action shotgun, so that does work. You can't do it with a semi-auto. The rounds eject too fast, but you can do some shit. Too late now. You didn't go for it. Also, by the way, funnily enough, I was going to remember this, but I can mention it now on the channel, speaking of, like, Axe buying a shotgun. Benowitz bought the shotgun, and you bought your Kevlar, rolling the roll for spending your own money, so you guys just own those now. So, like, Kara just has a bulletproof vest now.
Yeah.
And now Benowitz has to go home and explain to his wife why he bought a shotgun. He could just say he was at a conference and he got a good upsell from a dealer, I guess, but... Or maybe he's concerned about home needs. He's away so often. Hashtag Moonrants.
Hashtag Moonrants.
But yeah, like, it's just like... This is just kind of like... weird. Like, and like, you guys all have the vibe of just like, you keep digging down the rat hole and are just like, oh, this just doesn't end. This is just a constant pile of just more bullshit. This bullshit is not on fire enough. and I think that is the vibe I want. Like, you guys are just very very good. Like I said, all the players are very good about like, no. We are not going to fastball this. We are going to... this is a mansion with rooms? What's that, Omega? You've detailed the rooms? And yes, of course I detailed the rooms. Guys, I'm sorry. I'm a sucker for the haunted house. It's a classic. I love it. This is a spooky house and a spooky nunnery. It's great. You guys did not have fun in the spooky nunnery.
No.
Like, every time you guys got a new fact, you were just like, that's not right. It's really not right. That's really, really not right. Which was arguably how I, because it's almost like linear, that's arguably how I designed it, but it makes sense, right? Like, the public-facing areas are just, like, a little off, and then you go deeper and deeper, and you're like, man, that's really not... What the fuck is this? Is this like a griffin with armor?
Yeah, it's called the Griffin Queen.
Ah, okay. Sorry, I'm watching the preview window, so text is a little hard to read, but yeah, no.
No, like, but there's way too many fucking enemies right there.
Yeah, that's a regroup. Maybe drop some AoE magic.
Let's see here if I can do it
Bad
right.
boys. Bad boys doing some stuff. But yeah, so like, you guys have really embraced the like, no, we will unpack this shit. Like, the only character who doesn't really unpack shit is Marth's character, but like you have said repeatedly, and I think a lot of the other players, they see Petty Officer Holland as like their rock. Like, literally, he's just spent this entire night in the haunted house just carrying an M60. They found the machine gun, by the way, guys. Check out the AP if you haven't, but they found the machine gun. And they were like, no, I found a free machine gun. We're carrying this. And we'll see if it helps. But, like, he's just spent the whole night carrying the machine gun, being ready to rock, and, like, That's what you guys want out of him. You just want him to be in the front with the machine gun and ready to go.
Yep.
And it is kind of interesting how you guys have actually arguably, like, avoided some opportunities for some combat encounters by just being like, no, we're not jumping. We know the problem is underground. We're not going underground yet. We want to make sure we're covering all our bases first.
God, I hate these bats.
Would you say they're goddamn bats?
They are goddamn bats. Well, they're fast, and they just keep spamming their supersonic, which is not damaging, but it'll lock you in place. And if there's multiple of them doing it, you have to keep moving, but then they'll just do their dash attack. It's like, hey, I'm in your face again. Guess what? Supersonic. I'm just like, guys, can we not? And they're like, no, we're gonna do this.
So that's, by the way, that's I dropped that because that's a TV Trope's name, because video game bats they suck. Like, you all know that they're really annoying. And they're hard to deal with. And, you know, everybody remembers Pokemon. You walk in a cave, Zubat. Zubat. Yeah, I know. Marthos has technical difficulties doing some of the AP stuff. Internet gets weird at times. Human type thing, but it's still it works, I think, for the most part with his character. Nobody is like relying on Holland to do nerd shit. They're just, he's here in case we need the machine gun.
Mm-hmm.
Because as established, you guys are lacking skill in the area, and we do still have like Delta Green growing pains. Like, this is something I actually remembered to bring up a rule about, like, failing checks that you didn't roll. Because, like, there are some areas where you guys just straight up don't have stuff, and I was able to kind of after go back and be like, okay, so no, what it says is if you would have attempted something where it was a clue, like, to not roll, or it was something inherently that you knew you didn't have any points in, you can technically still be counted as fail and get a check mark. And I was like, would you guys say you guys wanted to try that stuff? Would you have stretched your knowledge? And I think it was mostly about, like, astronomy. Like, most people were like, yeah, no, we would have tried. And I was like, okay, take your check mark. Like, you guys would have attempted the roll, but have literally 0 points, I think, in sciences, right?
I mean, I have biology, but...
Well, I mean, like, you have... I think the default is 0?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's like, well, you can't... Like, rolling is literally pointless, so I guess we just say you would have tried and failed. And just are like, I don't understand space. And that problem may come up again. I realize that Architect is a craft skill that none of you have. So if you guys want to get into architectural horror and want to actually understand what you're dealing with, somebody should start taking some architecture classes in between sessions. Anyway, it's still, I think we've got a good vibe. And there's, like I said, there's still some growing pains, but we're getting into the rhythm, and I think everybody's having a good time. And hopefully we will be finishing this week. And after that, like I said, I am committed to doing Star Wars first, so I will at least have that written. I do not know if we will jump right to it, but I think we will, because... You're plodding away at Wild Talents at Grand Voyager City, but you've also said you are not in a rush to finish this. So
No.
It is a thing you are actively developing, but are not in a speed for.
No, because again, we already have like a bunch of games in the hopper that we want to do. Like we're finishing up Star Wars, then we have Gensakai after that. We still have, we have the Sprawl on standby, which is kind of like, I think I'm imagining Delta Green is going to be. It's like...
Yeah, Delta Green will probably... It just so happens that for these scenarios, I've had my stroke of inspiration before the last one is explicitly finished, but because like I said, I'm committed to doing Star Wars first and getting back to that, the next Delta Green operation will not be ready right away, but I am very excited for it. So yeah, Delta Green will probably be like the Sprawl, where it's going to be dependent on, like, did Omega get a vibe? Does he have a feeling? Yeah, we got Gensakai.
Like, you still talk about your L5R game, and I'm just like...
Yeah, my L5R campaign is like one burst of inspiration away from being done. It's just, honestly, like, the thing that happened with L5R, it happened with a lot of our L5R that was just, the RPG pivoted to another studio, and, like, a book hasn't come out in, like, 2 fucking years. And it's very sad, because I really like that RPG. But it kind of killed my motivation a little bit. I don't know. I've got a couple of L5R books to read, and I know that they're gonna do another fucking novella compilation. They're gonna do Great Plans Volume 2, and it's gonna have the Lion novella by Robert Denton III, which is an author I really like. Also, I think it's gonna have some of the short stories. They're back. Hold on. Time out. Be gone. Be gone, bot. But yeah, so Wild Towns, like, we got a lot of stuff in the hopper, but you are plugging away at it.
God
you
damn it.
Talk about any of that.
I hate
Or
enemies
you
that
can
are...
just get murdered by a Griffin.
I know, it's doing this thing where it goes in the air and I can't fucking hit it. Like, it's just, it's literally just right out of my fucking range. God fucking damn it, I hate that kind of shit.
I guess that's magic then, probably?
Well, here's the thing. When you do magic, this is the problem. You stand fucking still.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think, like, because there's no gun. Is there, like, can you be, like, a spear boy and get some reach?
Actually, I can be a spear boy, but I haven't developed my spearing ability at all.
You're not a dragoon yet.
Yeah.
Because, dragoons jump. I bet that works. Get them dragoon ups.
But now I have to go back and... Like, this is interesting. Like, they don't have the Soulsborne thing of, like, you have to gather things, but you have to do the specials to increase your MP meter. So, if you die, your MP meter gets reset, and you have to go around and get all the stuff to redo it again.
So, you kind of got to, like, build back up your juice to take on the boss. I see. Interesting. It's an interesting mechanic. But so, now that you're not being bullied by a griffin...
Yeah.
Is there stuff you want to say about WoW?
No, not necessarily. Like, again, I'm slowly, like, I opened up my, the GM's desk, because, unfortunately, I'm not one of those persons who can just, someone can, at me at any time. I'll be like, oh, yes, let's talk about this. I'm like, no. But, like, I usually be like, hey, guys, I'm willing to talk, and, Aaron's been, like, on the ball, being, like, asking stuff, trying to figure out. He did remove the booster from his body, which I was like, sweet. Because he did say there's no reason that I need to be able to lift 4 tons from the outset. I'm like, yes, this is correct.
Yeah, it's cool, but you don't need to.
Yeah. Cactar! Excuse me, I must destroy this man.
He must hack this tar.
Oh man, it's really running away too, yeah. But like you see, like, all the fucking bats in there are just going ape shit. I'm just like, fuck.
Yep. Yeah, I know that Aaron's been on the ball as well about, like, asking about character questions, and when I've been able, I've been like, I'll chip in. I have some thoughts. I kind of feel it's interesting. So, Mel is the only girl in the team. So it definitely feels like sometimes our conversations get a little splitsy. Like, you discussed the rooming situation, right, and talked about roommates.
Yeah.
And so, as the only... with the only female player character, that means Mel is on a different floor with different roommates.
Yep.
Whereas I believe it's... while we've been talking, Dallas popped up, and I believe Gabriel and Lucius are going to be roomies. Makes sense. Now, but so that means that, like, where we could have done character building between characters, we end up with character building between NPCs. You have many notes on this, many vibes. It works. It's good.
Again, I am trying to build on a slightly tropey base with, like, some cliches. Like, one of the things we were talking about, it's like I was on the facility. I've actually been writing notes. Let's see here. Let me pull it up here. Let's see here. Let's see. The facility, main building, a 3-story complex with a center section and 2 wings. The first floor contains assorted areas for reception, offices, the kitchen, dining area, laundry room, and various storage areas, including one that leads into a basement. The second and third floors are mostly rooms that have been turned into bedrooms for the orphans, with the exception of 8 of them at the ends of each wings being used for employees and caretakers. On these floors, there are also restrooms and shower rooms, with the main area being used as a recreation area. The second floor is for males, the third is for females, with the exception of the center recreation areas. Genders are not allowed on their opposite floors. Bedrooms. Our room for two contains a bunk bed with privacy curtains on the left wall from the entrance. On the right wall, there are 2 vintage armoires at the corners with 2 desks between them. Simple chairs are at the desk, and at the rear wall from the door is a large window with heavy curtains over it. Like, I'm like, again, like, I'm still like, again, the one thing that's probably taking me long is like, I want to be very specific in how everything looks and whatnot. So I take my time and actually thinking about, okay, what could I fit in here? What is this? And this was the question I asked earlier. It's like, okay, what would you guys rather see? Bunk beds or like double single beds? And you popped in, it's all like, single bed makes sense, but bunk beds are the tropes. I'm like, I do like tropes. So I went with bunk beds. Also, it lets me give you a gives me a perfect reason to give you guys privacy curtains, because Mel is rooming with a girl named Dawn, and I actually, like, again, I specifically pointed this out. Dawn's a fabulous person, but she's also a fabulously bright person.
Yeah, and I immediately, like, in my mind, the dynamic crystallized. Like, I'm like, so that means Dawn is a morning person. Mel is clearly not a morning person. She's, you know, very, like, very gothic, very morose, you know. Listens to, like, classic post-punk bands like Joy Division. Mostly because I actually understand those kinds of music, like David Bowie, Joy Division, that kind of stuff. I don't actually know anything about goth rock. But, like... And so, like, she'd be subdued, she, you know, likes the night and contemplating the profound noirness of her existence and whatever. We contemplate the void in the back alley.
And Dawn is just a happy-go-lucky girl who, you know, sees positivity and everything, wants to do her best, helps out, and is, you know, always super fucking cheerful.
Yeah, and just, like, it's... I'm just imagining, like, you know, Mel is probably, like, at breakfast, like, bemoans how much Dawn is literally Satan. Actually, I like my metaphor. She would say, she is Lucifer Morning Star. She is the devil. Why? Isn't she great? She's a morning person. How dare you? How can she be so happy at 6 a.m.? Out of my soul.
And again, like, when, like, you know, talking about roommates, I'm like, no, like, I wanted to lean into that trope of not necessarily, you know, opposite attract, but just, you know, the roommates of, like, if it was been, like, single beds, there would literally be, like, a line you could see in the room between Mel and Dawn, and this is, like, I wanted to embrace that. This is definitely starting to give me some thoughts on, like, other orphans and whatnot. I don't think I'm necessarily going to give full stats to all of them, but definitely, like, if characters do not have a roommate, I would, like, generate an NPC roommate for them.
I mean, yeah, there should. First of all, yeah, the roommates, like the age bracket, I think that works out for Lucius and Gabriel. God, I feel like because he hasn't said it in a couple of days, my brain has forgotten what Axe's character name is.
It's Seth.
Seth, that right? Yeah, figured brain. Seth being older, that means he's got a different roommate, and I think he's probably had them for a while. That's probably got something interesting you could do there, right?
Yep.
And I don't know what Loth's character... Loth is back, but he has not deep dived into some of the stuff. He has not looked at or anything yet, I don't...
Oh, you're a
because he's okay taking a little bit more relaxed, but he said that he's thinking, because some of the other guys are all Remy will be Smolden. Mel is already probably going to be much smaller than all the dudes in the team, because I said she's of average height, like 5'4". Which means I am incredibly tiny next to, like, Dallas's character. Which is very funny, because you possibly have seen us together, because we both smoke.
Clearly, your plan is whenever someone comes, you just hide behind the giant man. You were never there.
Yeah. And we've already kind of talked about, like, you know, kind of like the back and forth in characters and stuff, like, you know. You established that Dawn hasn't, like, say, ratted out Mel for smoking or anything.
No.
Technically not, again. Rules. But I'm like, I brought this up. I feel like Mel definitely would understand and hope everybody at the facility understands the code of silence, you know. Stitches get stitches. Like, and that's probably gonna, yeah, no, I'm thinking about that, like, that's gonna be, like, her attitude. Like, she doesn't bring up, you don't bring up Mel's shit, Mel doesn't bring up your shit. I assume we've all got stuff going on, because, like, it's not like Mel is, like, an airhead or anything. I have, you know, sense 2, empathy 2, right? Like,
right.
For a teenager, she's decently perceptive. So, like,
God,
we probably all have our own baggage of which we are aware, and so we will, you know, have these little things, and that's probably, I think, part of our various, like, community vibes, is we don't really get up in each other's business. Though, I mean, if lucky if you wanted to include one of the orphans who's like a Randall from Recess, right? Like, if we have a team snitch, a busybody, I mean, that would give us a very tropey, petty anti-antagonist.
Well, like I said, not everyone's gonna be fucking, you know, sunshines and daisy at the facility. Like, the life at the facility is not perfect. Like I said, like I'm making a point to put, like, a lot of the facilities are run down. Like, maintenance is not the best. A lot of the rooms are actually just empty because the facility can't, like, afford to maintain, like, extra people and stuff. And so, like, again, like, I wanted to portray the facility as a positive influences on your guys' life, but it's, like I said, nothing's perfect.
Yeah.
So, like, again, there will be concerns, like, you know, there'll be concerns about, you know, like, what was the term I was thinking of? Well, there'll be concerns with it, like, in the facilities and, like, upkeep and whatnot, and maybe, like, sometimes they'll have to make hard decisions and whatnot. Not every single orphan is going to be your fucking best friend. Some might be, like, more aggressive than others. Like, definitely there's going to be a couple boys who are not going to be happy with Gabriel. You know, not necessarily, like, you know, just, you know, wake up in the morning, start a fight, but, you know, might be a little bit more antagonistic than one should be. Oops.
There's probably some guys who, like, are tough on, like Dallas' character Lucius, just because he is huge.
Yeah.
Like, you know, prison rules type shit. And there are probably going to be some of the girls who don't want to put up with Mel's shenanigans either.
Yeah. So, like again, there'll be small time, like, antagonists, but I'm trying not to. Whoops.
You're not going for full blown, like, hell orphanage shit. Like,
yeah.
At the very least, you know, I'm talking about, like, tropiness. We're at the level where, like, you know, we could possibly get these guys together to tap dance it out and sing "It's a Hard Knock Life," right? But, you know, it's not a perfect, though. It is still a hard knock life. Quote Little Orphan. So, you know, it's not perfect.
No, so again, I'm continuously working on things. I've been trying to. The thing that really slows me down a lot of times, believe it or not, is not necessarily like I don't want to write. It's I'm horrible at naming things. Recently, I've been trying to figure out all the residential districts and where they're located, and I just keep looking at my document and being like, all right, I know I want a middle-class district, like, next to, like, the international, like, area, but what the fuck do I call that? And that just stops me for, like...
I mean, I so understand that. Like, that's a lot of the early hump, and, like, whenever I write anything, like, coming to the name for, like I said, like, I named a fictitious town Plainville, Ohio. I was like, okay, TV tropes, what are names that are used? I think it's actually the name that was used in the cartoon Chalk Zone. Plainville.
Sounds about right.
But I was like, there's so many, like, Plainviews and other common, and I was like, which one of these, you know, completely mundane, like, every town USA vibes works for me? I can't literally call it every town. That would be, maybe if the whole town was fake, but I'm like, I don't want to go that far. But yeah, it's like, and I mean, that's what I would recommend to you, Lucky, is just go on the internet and, like, grab random, like, names of suburbs or housing developments, like, and neighborhood names until something clicks. Like, and it doesn't have to be flashy, like, you know, we the players are not going to throw stones at you because, like, oh, the middle class district, Northton. Is it in the north? No, it's in the south, actually. It's ironic. Yeah, that figures. Like, it's, you know, I don't think anybody's going to fight you on it. And sometimes if your names get, like, too elaborate, they can be distracting, right?
Oh, yeah.
And you even said the fact that, you know, it's called Grand Voyager City is supposed to be, like, meaningful. It's supposed to be a little over the top.
Yeah.
You know, it's larger than life. Oh. But yeah, no, it's the naming of things is always a vibe. It's hard to track. You got to get in the right space for it.
Oh, I got Shield Dash. How does that look?
Like I talked about this for Mel's name. I was literally just like, people are talking about their characters. I'm gonna give my character a name. I work on things, and I'll work on the that'll be my starting point for, like, building her stats trially. And I go on, you know, behind the name. I'm like, Doc names. Melanie. That's kind of, you know, got a Greek root, but it's in English. It's, you know, dark. It's good. Her last name is just like I mean, it's you know, it's comics. Let's go with alliteration. Melody Marshall. 2 L's. Symbolism. Other thing. Works.
敵はもういないな。
まだ先はあるんだ。頼むぞ。
敵発見。
叩き潰すぞ。
Sorry, I got it. Well, yeah, that's good on the stuff.
Yeah,
We will
no.
probably continue to bring you various wild talent news as we yell about things.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, Loth has been incommunicado for a little bit thanks to his flooding problem. So we haven't really rounded out, I think, a lot of the character. Him, he doesn't know what his character will be doing yet. Mechanically. We know that puppets are.
Yeah. Mart's on board with bunk beds. I like bunk beds too, personally.
Yeah, bunk beds are cool. But yeah, so we'll continue to bring you news and also listen to APs.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give too many tips, because like I said, the Delta Green APs are actually doing fairly decent for us in APs. I think like this week's has got up to like 40 views.
Oh, nice.
Which is not terrible, but is, or is not great, but is also not terrible, I should say. Like it's yeah, decent. Got some tracking. Hopefully, it's attracted some people. No, like not a lot of comments or likes, but we got a slightly more interest than usual checking them out.
That's good.
It's good. And we'll be recording more Delta Green and stuff. So yeah, I think that like I got a couple other small things, but we've been going for like 3 hours. I don't necessarily feel the need to like drag us out any longer than that. It's a yawn.
No, I think we're fine. We can call it.
Do not want to be up super late because, like I said, it's gonna be spring forward soon, and that's gonna be a motherfucker.
I believe that's tonight, actually.
Yeah, it is.
お出迎えだな。
Sure.
やるぞ。ついてこい。
Is important. Spring forward will occur. Daylight saving time in Florida will begin at 2 a.m. on the 13th. Yep, so that's tonight. So yeah, that's gonna be good for me to like make sure I'm ready to rack it up a little early and start setting alarms and stuff, because that's what I'm gonna do. Like I said, I don't want to be a weird piece of shit and wake up at like 4 p.m. when I don't have to. I know several people in the community, and I interact with some people who are on night shift, and sometimes I feel like I'm on a night shift, like staying up late to do the edits and stuff, but that's like one day out of a week. I could be a little cleaner about my time schedule. Like, I know that you're pretty on top of your sleep schedule, Lucky. You have a 9 to 5.
Yep.
Even, like, brought this up at Delta Green where you're like, you were like, yeah, I have energy, but I do have to go to work tomorrow, so
Yeah.
I was like, okay, then let's do a little bit more and wrap up. It's good. I'm always kind of glad when we find those, like, organic points to end it, even if, like, I think our Delta Green sessions are a little more dense, usually because they're very combat light, very exploration and investigation heavy. And honestly, the way Delta Green is, you don't want to be getting in a fight. It's bad. You're kind of squishy.
Yes.
So it works out, as opposed to, like, I think some of our Star Wars sessions end early just because there's a lot of, like, it's either, like, logistics, like bookkeeping stuff, or there's a couple of fights and we're just like, well, that was a fight. I'm exhausted. Let's call it quits here. What's that? We've only been going for 2 hours? Well, they were a dense 2 hours, so...
Yeah, they were.
There was much activity, much yelling about the action economy. I mean, I guess the only thing I want to touch on is because I brought this up last week and you didn't have a chance to look at it because you were very deep in the horizon, but you did actually look at my little Adventurer's Guide to Food and Drink, my little fluff piece for Gensakai.
Oh yeah, no, I thought it was great.
And you looked at it. Yeah, okay, good.
No, I love the just the variety and whatnot.
That is definitely something I wanted to think I had to get in there. It's just like I wanted to come up with a lot of different ideas from different cultures.
Like I know, and I like how you like brought in a little bit of everything. Like even the pork has like their own special things. Like I can't remember what you called it, but it was basically whatever the pork steak was.
Yeah, it's actually a Dr. Seuss reference, roast beast. From,
Yes.
How the Grinch Stole Christmas. But yeah, It's just called roast beast, and that's the fluff text. What kind of beast? The pork tells you somewhat good.
Yeah.
You gotta take his word for it.
Again, I'm talking like that kind of information like that you gave was actually very interesting because again, like one of the things I do want Porter to be the cook, to get his food on, find exotic delicacies, maybe make so food go so good that your clothes explode off. I want that to happen.
Well,
at least
and also
once.
that's where I think for some of the food, some of the vibe is on like portable food. Some of it's just, hey, this is good eating, but others it's like, here's something you can make on the go. Like I talked about griddle cakes, aka pancakes, and like talk about how like, yeah, no, some adventurers just carry the batter in a frying pan, and like I can imagine Porter, for instance, being like, all right, it's morning, there's a campfire, who wants griddle cakes? Mm-hmm. It's and a lot of my prices, like I said, are drawn from the economy I did for stuff like the dungeon rations or a tavern meal. So a lot of things have similar prices but are different foods, so you can kind of see it.
But no, like
some fun stuff in there.
Oh, excuse me, but no, I did enjoy the flavor text and all the stuff you did. I was like,
Yeah.
oh shit, that was all very nice.
I hid pizza in here.
Mm-hmm.
Arcadian Scudo, shield bread. But yeah, so that's good. I'm glad somebody read and appreciated and liked my sense of humor. It's always good to be appreciated. I might even, especially if we get into a playtest of Gensekai, I will probably continue to jot down more ideas random players have. Because that is still something that we want to do. I spent a lot of work on Gensekai, and I still have some back end to do when I feel like it. When I feel like putting on my deepest lore hat and writing about skeletons. Or whatever the section is I'm writing on. Like, there's still some work to be done there, but Lucky brought this up. That's not really necessary for playtesting. Like, I wouldn't mind having a couple of my stats homebrewed up anyway, but I would probably just use whatever works for a playtest anyhow.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, it is something that probably needs some playtesting. I think then
I'm working on a lot of skeleton heads.
こんなものだな。
次やれそう
I mean, what else do you do? What else do you do with the skelly man?
Again, I'm trying to build up my mana meter here so I can.
Yeah, fight some guys. Where's this demo end, actually, I wonder?
I'm not sure.
Like I said, I've a lot of free time to grind these couple of dungeons. I mean, the game ships in like a week, so I'm pretty sure it's got to be like 100% done.
Oh yeah. Aside from the day one patch.
Yeah, I mean, if they have one, they probably will. But I feel like games are getting a little away from that. Like, I don't remember. Did Horizon have like a day one patch? They had a patch a couple of days later to clean up a couple of.
ジャックがいれば負けないさ
Then again, with how like integrated everything like is network wise, when you like get a game on disc, I almost expect them to like when they do the install or whatever, they can just sneak whatever update files they want in there and you don't even notice. But yeah, that is definitely a curiosity to see where the demo ends. But yeah, I'm running out of a little extra juice here. Do like I said, I don't want to forever. So I will probably, I will definitely be finishing Horizon this coming week. I will try and then play some more Triangle Strategy so I can give you my thoughts on that. I know some people have been having some fun, and I always love to stretch my tacticals. Heard, very good things, doing well. Like I said, Square's apparently getting pretty keen on tactical RPGs and stuff. So we can do that. Like I said, I think I do want to actually try out this demo for myself, see how I feel about the playstyle, because I'm not very as familiar with the games that the studio does. Because like everything else about this game just seems weird and cool. And like they don't give a shit that it's weird and cool. That's the point, right?
Right.
Which we had this conversation a lot about like Fate stuff yesterday for a mailbag question. Let's Suck FGO. Go check that out if you haven't already. But definitely, like, I feel more appreciative when the author is almost more self-aware about, like, to me, it's kind of frustrating when the author gets a little coy, like, yes, that did work out that way. It's more interesting when they're like, yeah, no, I wrote it that way because it's cool. Like, when you just own up to the fact that you did this because you have authorial power, it's almost more relaxing than trying to like coyly do it, you know?
Mhm.
But I don't know. I feel like as an author, you know, talking about like game design and stuff, you've already talked about how you're going to be a different GM than me and probably be a little bit more meaner. I've heard a lot of people say I'm a very nice GM. Because, like, author-wise, like, with authorial intent and powers, and, like, as the GM, you don't have a complete authorial power, but you have a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I've always felt kind of like I don't want to be, like, very ham-fisted about the authorial power because I have it and I don't want to, like, misuse it. It's always kind of weird to be, like, get too up in my own guts about, like, oh, well, look at this storytelling trope or whatever, you know. Look, I throw this character's flaws into sharp relief, or look how cool this character is, because, like, yeah, of course they are. You wrote it that way. You control the universe. You make the thing. And, like, I get on my own case about that, trying not to be too harsh about some of them vibes. Like, even with Delta Green, I'm not like, you know, malicious or stunning to the characters most of the time. I'm just like, I'm going to build a creepy world, and you guys are going to poke it, and you're not going to have fun. But that's why we're here. You know, by not having fun, we will have fun kind of a thing, right? Or actually, the proper way to phrase it with Delta Green, the characters will not have fun. Players can have fun, thus. That's the design ways, is like, the players get to have fun, the characters do not. Though, I don't know, I think Dallas's character might have had fun mixing Molotov cocktails.
Probably.
That was also a hilarious moment. I do want to just throw some point out for that, where all the other player characters dug up some pre-made, like, napalm, like, styrofoam and gasoline, and then Dallas is like, right, I'm not part of this conversation. I was literally going to do that anyway. I'm going to go buy some cheap wide styrofoam packing peanuts while we're gone. And then we're just like, whoops. Funny how that works.
I think I love the out-of-character moment I have when he mentioned that. I was like, and I screamed, "Are you making napalm?" And Dallas was just like, something like that. I think that was my favorite moment.
Yeah. And then later you guys find the napalm and you're like, oh, we got it for free. And I knew it was coming, so I was just like, yeah. That's dramatic irony. But like I said, I don't like to be too ham-fisted as the GM because it feels just kind of like too much of like patting myself on the back. Sometimes it bothers me when other authors get a little too back-patty. But you always got to let the context flow. Like, I know I'm trying to wrap this up, but I have been, like I said, I have been watching a lot of video recaps that the author of Gunner Creek Court does. And, like, later on, he brought his wife in, who's also a webcomic artist, so there's a lot more interplay. And, like, while I don't like it if an author gets too self-congratulatory, there's a lot to be said for context. Like, I remember I watched one video, and I won't go into too much detail, especially because I want to wind down the show and I don't want to be in a tangent. But it is a follow-up, just like I talked about previously. But, like, in one chapter, they're talking about how, like, there's this big, long section where, like, the main character is, like, called out on some of the stuff she's done, and there's, like, this whole thing. And, like, they talk about how, like, for the audience, it's kind of polarizing and blah, blah, blah. And they talk about, like, how, you know, some of this stuff is, like, true from the character doing kind of the call-it point of view, but they're not really being malicious, but they are being factual. And we can't even end the show without you guys getting in here. Just get the fuck out of here. Go back in timeout.
How did they even find us?
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's because you're streaming Stranger of Paradise, which is, you know, the demo is new. There's probably, like, bots looking for, like, hot new games. Hopefully this gives us some search engine optimization, though. But, like, so they go through all this chapter, and, like, at first listening to this video, I'm kind of like, man, Tom, I think you're being a little, like, coy about all this. I mean, like, yes, the character has flaws, but also you arranged the plot of this scenario for the character to do these things, right? But then literally the second chapter, and then we got a entirely different spam. What the fuck? This is normal, at least. These bots also usually fuck off after you report them once. Anyway. But then, like, literally the second chapter is, like, there's a lot of talk about, like, context and contextualizing character actions, and we talk about that like conversation through a different character, and it's like, so long as you put everything in an appropriate context, I think it's okay, right?
Right.
Like, you don't want to be too like, you know, finger on your nose, like, yes, you guys think this character did a dumb thing. I'm going to talk about it to at length. How about how this was bad? But if you can do that as a setup, and then the follow-up is like, okay, so some of that stuff was right, and maybe you should think about that. But also, contextually, we were all doing this, and then the meta context is, like, because this was a long-running plot that the author's been establishing since the first bit. So, like, it worked out. it was kind of interesting for me to be on that little roller coaster. But yes, I will call it here. I need to get some dinner, actually. It's a little late. No, I should probably get dinner. Just a snack or something. But yeah, I need to eat. You know, gotta eat, gotta do stuff. And we should wind down, because we're running out of juice. Though, hey, shout out to this demo for lasting us, 3.5 hours.
Oh yeah, I'm still not done. There's still another section I can go to. I'm not doing it because I like doing other stuff because it says the item, well, it says it's only 8. I might be okay. Yeah, I might be okay. I don't know. Anyway, I'm trying, I'm exploring systems and stuff.
Yeah, you got an opportunity. Like I said, I would actually really wish like Elden Ring had a function like this, right? I suppose it's an open world game; it'd have to be like a timed trial still, but like this actually seems like a really good opportunity to actually try out this game and like explore the systems and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I feel kind of like we rely a little too much on like the marketing engine. Like not a lot of games do demos anymore, and that's kind of sad because like demos is a great part of the culture, and also you really can't beat hands-on experience.
Not really, no.
But all right, we're wrapping up. The channel members are singing us out. They're posting emotes early. Let's go ahead and leave this chaos shrine and get on out of here so you guys can also go about your business and I can make some hot cocoa because it's cold. It's 46 degrees right now and falling. But the outro goes a little something like this. If you're watching this video on YouTube and you like it, be sure to give it a like. Yeah, there's raids and stuff people are doing. Hopefully you guys have an opportunity to do some raids while you've been listening to us jaw. But if you're watching this video on the YouTubes, give us a like if you liked it. That helps our optimization and metrics and whatever. It's good. Give it a like. Show people you liked it. If you have any comments, you can leave in the comment section down below. You can also hit up our Discord if you want to yell about how Elden Ring is the coolest and most accessible. Or if you want to yell about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, check out our Discord. People do that all the time. Currently, people are yelling about, also yelling about 86, which I think was trending on Twitter earlier. So.
Oh, yeah. The final 2 episodes are finally going to be coming out after like a 3-month delay. People are excited.
Yeah.
I'm
Big
excited.
Vibes, yeah, I understand. Once again, my like TV watching is all over the place because I've been focusing hard on the video games. But you can join our Discord, it's cool. In the description of the channel page. If you are new here and haven't already, please subscribe to our channel to get more of What's Up and more Let's Talk FGO, and also catch our streams, I'm probably going to do another Master Duel stream this week, and we're going to be continuing our Uncharted playthrough. We're getting pretty close to the end of the ride. One more game left. We're going to start Lost Legacy Monday, which should be interesting. Neither Lucky or I has played that before. Nope. So we're going to have a fun time. Check out what Chloe was. Her business. What's she been? Looking good, probably. Punching guys. Stealing treasures. Anyway, check out the Monday streams for that and various other things throughout the week. Sub. And make sure to hit that bell for notifications so you always know when we post a new video or when we're streaming. Give yourself a little alert. You can also join our channel membership by clicking the join button or the link in the description. Get access to membership badges and emotes as you can see displayed currently. I still believe we need one more member to get one more emote. Well, one more member to get more emote slots. I don't know if it's 1 at a time or if it's like 2 or whatever. We'll find out if we get one more member. So consider it. It's like $1.99 a month. Helps us out. Gives us the vibes. And also, like I said at the beginning, you can support us by joining our Patreon. You can get access to audio of our main podcast. You can listen to or watch, I should say, videos early. You can listen to us record Let's Talk FGO live at higher levels and lots of other goodies, and it really helps us out and supports us in our unending crusade to get more video games. Yell about video games.
Can't stop, won't stop.
And yeah, that's the outro. This has been What's Up. I hope you guys had fun. We had fun. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap the audio in a second.
All right. Well, see everyone next time. Laters.
Bye now.